Welcome to our Saturday coverage on Fox Sports 1. You're watching America's Day at the Races. It's brought to you in part by America's Best Racing. For the love of the race, visit americasbestracing.net today. 35 degrees here in South Ozone Park, New York, as we get set for a couple of stakes coming up for 2-year-olds. Hello, everyone. I am Greg Wolf, and two incredibly lucrative stakes for 2-year-olds ahead in the New York Stallion Series for New York sired horses. In the Fifth Avenue division, we have the undefeated Sacrosanct ahead. That'll be in the Great White Way, Fifth Avenue. Then we'll see Boston's Finest, who gets away from the ultra-talented with the Angels for Linda Rice. With that one out of the mix, Boston Finest looks awfully tough for Chad Brown, runner-up to that one last time out. Those two ahead, and never too early to start thinking about next year's Breeders' Cup. We have the Gran Premio Carlos Pellegrini. That is a win, and you're in for the 2025 Breeders' Cup Turf. Horse who won that race last year actually competed in this year's edition. So we'll have that coming up from Argentina. They are firm on the turf course there. We're fast here in New York. And Oakland, their feature, that is the Mistletoe. They have muddy conditions. We'll get to Paula Duca in just a little bit. We have last year's Black-Eyed Susan winner, Taxed, coming back in that performance with me. Champion jockey, won more races than anyone in history here. Richard Migliori, Jonathan Kinchin here as well. And looking forward to these two stakes we have ahead, including the undefeated Sacrosanct, trying to win a third straight stakes race for Brad Cox.
He just looks very tough. He's consistent. He has speed. He doesn't need the lead, but it seems like his natural rhythm, his natural speed puts him there, Jonathan.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely is the horse to beat in here, but I think the 5 Bold Fortune, where he's drawn outside of him, has some speed as well, could at least be an annoyance and could also be the one who gets the victory here.
Took a huge move forward. It's a rematch for those two. Sacrosanct handled them pretty easily when they met early on, and Sacrosanct broke his maiden. That was a debut for Bold Fortune, but he has really come on since. It's our ABR race of the week. Great White Way for the boys in the 8th, going 7/8, and again $500,000 on the line in this race. You have to start with Sacrosanct. He's been perfect to this point. 3 straight victories, 2 of them stakes for the imposing barn of Brad Cox.
Yeah, listen, the horse is undefeated for a reason. He has a lot of ability. He's got a terrific pedigree, and he's been hard-ridden, though. His last start, he was really hard-ridden to gain that victory going a mile. Do you think the turn back to 7/8 is actually beneficial for him?
No, I would think so. I mean, if you look at his race, it's probably his best race was at 7 furlongs. He ran well going the mile, and now cutting back here, it shouldn't hurt him at all. And he does have some nice pace figures, too, to suggest he can handle a little pressure.
There he is, odds on for Manny Franco, who had a 3-win day yesterday. Here's 2 Honest Mischief. Jimmy Farrar, a huge upset earlier in the card.
Yeah, ran for maiden 40 last time. These are much deeper waters.
Smile and Say Cheese, Ruben Silvera, a couple of wins today.
Yeah, a long shot for a reason. He just has not been able to handle Sacrosanct in his last 2 starts.
Bold Fortune, he was no match for Sacrosanct first time out. He's won 2 in a row by more than 17 lengths.
Yeah, but that was this summer. A lot of things changed between now and then. I'm hoping Bold Fortune with this outside draw will be able to beat him. This will be my choice.
Steve Asmussen has Missing Rocks with Jose Lezcano.
Horse trying New York breds for the very first time. He's been running at Remington Park. He's going to have to get faster.
Could see improvement from Butta. Long shot it went by. And then here's National Identity for Danny Gargan.
Yeah, another one. He's got some early speed, but not nearly as much speed as the top 2 choices in the market.
And here's another horse outside, Soon to Be King, who is no match for Sacrosanct, 2 starts back in the Sleepy Hollow.
No match, but he's a closer. And if things heat up on the front end between Sacrosanct and Bold Fortune, to me, he would be the most likely beneficiary.
2 minutes away from the Great White Way. Again, $500,000 purse coming up. You can bet this race, all the action, and beyond by getting signed up right there at NYRABets.com. That's the code to use for new members, bonus 200. Get that $200 deposit match sign-up bonus at NYRABets.com. So 2 minutes from the start. And this race part of, to kick off, a cross-country pick 5, which you can play on NYRABets. So coming up soon includes both divisions of these New York Stallion Series stakes, and then races 5 and 6 from Oakland closes out with the finale here in New York, race 10. Maiden claiming race, difficult one in that last, trying to get 2 turns and a mile and an 1/8. We bring in for the first time this afternoon Maggie Wolfendale for more on our first of these 2 stakes.
Yeah, Greg, and Sacrosanct, he is the heavy favorite in here, and he looks the part. For me, I like the fact that there's some stamina built in with him, whereas his main rival, number 5, Bold Fortune, who looks to be the speed of the speed and very well could be the fastest horse in here, could run away with this field, though. You know, that is the biggest concern, and I get where Jonathan is thinking that let's take the horse that could be in a more comfortable position going this 7 furlongs as opposed to the 2 to 5 favorite. I really have no problems, though, with Bold Fortune. And I was wondering, you know, does he look a little bit, you know, maybe distance limited when you're facing horses who are actually turning back? And honestly, he has grown so much and has gotten so much more fit and athletic looking throughout the 5 months that he's been running. 4 months, if I can do my math correctly. And furthermore, I wanted to reserve judgment until I saw him warming up on the track, and he looks exceptionally well out there. Still going to go with Sacrosanct because I like the 7 furlongs, mile to the 7 furlongs, but no problems with Bold Fortune. As we'll check in with a horse that I just wanted to highlight, number 4, who is a massive price in here, Smile and Say Cheese, for the fact that he has the propensity to get out badly. So now he's drawn in the 3 hole. It could pose a concern if there's horses stacked up to his outside. He does wear a Halton bit, which is for horses who do such, lug in or lug out. But he has done it since his first start. So it's something that you need to pay attention to and how he might affect some other runners. And then taking a look at a horse that's a big price in here that I just thought looked exceptionally well is coming off of his maiden score in number 9, National Identity. He's going to have to get a bit faster. I get it. But he did set a pressured pace. And then I thought it was impressive for the fact that, and maybe he just wasn't facing much, to be fair. Sometimes it's reflective of who you're facing, not how you're doing it as an individual, but I just really like the way that he leveled off in that last 1/8 of a mile. So back here at the 7/8 again, I think it's a perfect distance for him. And Greg, Danny Gargan faced a controversial DQ in this race last year. Maybe could be out for redemption at a big price of 17 to 1.
Yeah, we will find out. National Identity, with that maiden win last time out, these waters get a lot deeper now, particularly not just facing winners, but the winners he's facing in Sacrosanct and Bold Fortune.
Yeah, I mean, this is a good group. Listen, they put up $500,000. You better come up, show up with your running shoes on.
There is the 1 to 2 favorite, Sacrosanct. I can't get over how good Bold Fortune looked in the warm-up.
Oh, I agree with you. He framed up beautifully, had his head bowed, really give that coiled up spring waiting to be released look to him. Looked fantastic.
5 to 2, Bold Fortune, the rematch here. Seems a lot more matured and prepared. There he is and ready to tackle Sacrosanct here in career start number 4 than he was in that debut. We'll see how things go in meeting number 2 between those two. New York Stallion Series Great White Way, $500,000 purse. Big favorite, the inside runner for Brad Cox with Manny Franco. Let's go to Chris Griffin.
All set. And they're off. Slow start for Too Honest Mischief, the early trailer. Speed from in between horses. Bold Fortune is right up there with the early kick. Gets Bold Fortune, who's in front, and immediately tries to back it down. Sacrosanct just moved right to the outside. A quick athletic move there. And Sacrosanct is now within a neck of the leader. He's going to stalk the pace setter. Bold Fortune there, 1-2. Settling off of them, that's Smile and Say Cheese, who's going to be a stalking third. And towards the outside, there's National Identity, who's taken fourth as the front two really start to go at it. Losing some ground was Butta. Just got past to the inside by Missing Rocks. Second to last will be Too Honest Mischief, and far back the trailer, Soon to be King. 22.30 for the opening quarter mile, and a pace duel on the front end as Bold Fortune and Sacrosanct take it right to one another. National Identity is making up some ground from third, has got 2 pace setters to catch, and towards the inside, Smile and Say Cheese. It's a big gap, about 8 lengths now. Back to a Missing Rocks and trying to make up some ground. Soon to be King. Sacrosanct has taken the lead. They reached the top of the stretch, but they went 45 seconds flat for a half-mile time, and National Identity is on the grandstand side in pursuit. Sacrosanct has got to dig in. Soon to be King is rolling. It just had to check at the rail, but here's National Identity to the outside of Sacrosanct. These two shoulder to shoulder here for a final 16th. It's National Identity. Sacrosanct still there. Sacrosanct the favorite, but Sacrosanct is going to win the Great White Way to finish and dug in and showed all heart. It's Sacrosanct who wins it over National Identity, finishing third was smile and say cheese in 1 minute 24.10 seconds.
Sacrosanct with a battle on his hands to the wire with National Identity. He wins that duel. He got a little lucky behind him because there was a horse rolling who got shut off.
Yeah, the 10 Soon to Be King had a full head of steam, a lot of momentum, and got stymied in rush hour traffic. But listen, Sacrosanct doesn't find excuses. He keeps finding ways to get it done, and he handled Bold Fortune early, who got the drop on him at the start. And the pace heated up quite a bit, but he's a game horse. He fights.
This won't look nearly as impressive as what Sacrosanct has done in his first 3 starts, but in my opinion, this was his best race. He put away a very, very good Bold Fortune. He had every excuse to stop in the stretch, and he didn't. He held off a horse coming from off of it. I thought he ran sensational.
Back to the trouble behind him now. And Javier Castellano just rolling on Soon to Be King the 10. Things get tight, has to back out.
Yeah, I mean, he had a full head of momentum. The horse, I guess it was the, I didn't see what number it was actually stymied him. Was
the 5.
It was the 5 Bold Fortune. And it looked like he got a half length in there. And sometimes you've got to just keep going forward. And the fact that he actually found his stride a little bit again late, honestly, I think the 10 horse might have won if he had gotten a clean run. He had so much momentum. See,
Blue
right
cap
here,
on the inside.
you know, right there, and he really got in very, very tight, but he had already gotten a half length up in there. And sometimes your best option is just to continue going forward, even if you brush the rail. I'd like to see a pan shot at it again, guys, and kind of get an idea of how far in there he got before he had to check.
Making a huge move to that point. And you can kind of see it there in the back end of your screen. Meanwhile, becomes a duel between these two up front. Your 1-2 favorite in a 17-1 shot, a National Identity. Was coming off that maiden win, and class prevails, and this was a gutsy effort from Sacrosanct, who did all the work in this race.
But he just did not want to be passed. Now keep an eye on the horse rallying with the blue cap, white silks. He gets almost in there, about a half a length, his head to the other rider's boot. You saw Dylan Davis check over his shoulder at that point, but all the damage had been done, and his rally got completely thwarted. He was rolling at that point, Jonathan.
No, he absolutely was, and it's hard to know for sure, but I agree with you. It sure feels like he would have at least been third if he would have got through there cleanly.
Yeah.
In the end, Sacrosanct just keeps on rolling here now. 4 wins from 4 starts, and no question this is toughest test yet, and he passes.
Well, he put away Bold Fortune, who's a very good horse in his own right, and then had to face another stiff challenge. He was the last man standing in a barroom brawl.
We've seen some really talented New York bred and New York sired 2-year-olds with the Angels, undefeated. The filly for Linda Rice. This horse still ahead. We'll get to Oakland. 9 minutes away, race 5, their first action from Hot Springs when we come back. 6 furlong event for Arkansas bred runners in for a claiming tag. Check in with Paula Duca when we return. Back at our Saturday coverage on Fox Sports 1. Here on America's Day of the Races. Great White Way New York Stallion Series goes to Sacrosanct. And this is getting to be old hat for this one. Trip to the winner's circle after he lines up at the starting gate. Now perfect 4 for 4.
Yeah, what courage he showed today, though. You face another quality horse in Bold Fortune, put him away, and you're ripe to be picked off. And the runner-up, National Identity, got a perfect trip on the Kendrick Carmouche. Sacrosanct refused to yield, just refused to lose.
No, it was outstanding. I mean, to be able to take the pressure from Bold Fortune and then to hold off the oncomers, and it wasn't light pressure. It was legit. I mean, he had to run to take over Bold Fortune, who had run some really fast races, and then to be able to hold off a horse who had a bunch of momentum, he had every excuse to quit and didn't do so. I was very impressed.
2-win day for Manny Franco. Brad Cox, Lady Sheila Stable, and now a perfect 4 for 4 for Sacrosanct. Let's go down to Maggie.
Here with the main assistant, Dustin Dugas, for Brad Cox here in New York, and Sacrosanct remaining perfect. Dustin, 4 for 4, as we were just joking. He's a pleasure to have in the shed row. So you have him strategically placed in his stall.
Right next to the office. Yeah, keep him close.
Is he a barn favorite?
He is. You know, anyone who works with him or rides him gets just around him. He's just a really, really cool horse. You know, he just sits there and plays with his jolly ball. He's just happy to be around, just happy to be involved with anything. So.
And he loves his job. He fought really hard today.
Yeah, they set an honest pace. You know, he broke it maybe a step slow, being down there waiting for a while, you know, for him to load and everything. But he might have broke just a step slow. But man, it was a really good heads-up ride, tipping to the outside of the 5. You know, who the eventual pace setter. They were setting a pretty honest pace, and he really did when the eventual second place runner-up come up to him. You know, he really dug in, and I was really, really happy with this horse.
He just seems like he has the coolest personality. I love the way he posed for his winner's circle photo, too. Dustin, great job with him, and congrats.
Thank you so much.
All right, Dustin Dugas and Sacrosanct. Boy, he is one that I'm sure a lot of people would love to have in their barn, Greg.
Undefeated, 4 for 4, just wins a race worth $500,000. I would think so. And cool how we did it this time, too. Forget what happened behind him. He did battle, and he earned that one this afternoon. For Silks right there, we've seen have some pretty good ones over the years.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Lady Sheila Stable and partners. And, you know, you learn something about a horse when they've got to get in a fight like that. And, you know, it wasn't like he was putting pressure on you know, a less than rival in Bold Fortune. It was a quality horse, and that's when horses are ripe to be picked off by a back runner. And the fact that he was able to put away a quality animal and then fight for it showed a different dimension to me, a lot of courage.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, you find horses that win by open links like that, they don't like getting in dogfights, and he got in one today, and he prevailed.
Well, coming up next, 2-year-old fillies get their turn, Fifth Avenue division of this New York Stallion Series. And our Spendthrift Farm 2-year-old race of the day, 7/8 of a mile here as well, $500,000 here as well. Look, we just saw a 1-2 favorite who was a big standout. He still had to fight for it and earn it. We don't have any kind of standout really like this in this field, do we?
No, I would agree with that assessment for sure. And listen, we can see one thing on paper. Races are not run on paper. They're run out there on the racetrack. And, you know, I think Sacrosanct showing that different dimension, showing that tenacity that, you know, to me defines a quality racehorse.
Boston's finest favorite in here for Chad Brown. What do you think of what we've seen of her to this point?
Yeah, I mean, she deserves to be favored. She ran into With the Angels, who'd be 1-9 in here. But I don't think she's a foregone conclusion. I think at 6-5, there's probably some opportunities to look elsewhere for some other value in here.
All right, we'll get back to it. We're going to head over to Hot Springs, Arkansas for the first time this afternoon. Race 5, 6-furlong sprint, muddy conditions at Oakland for the Saturday card. And this state-bred race, all for sale for $20,000. Non-winners of 2 lifetime. And the favorite all the way outside, that is the 13 in here. And also eligible, who draws in for Randy Morris, who will send out tax later today in that feature, the Mistletoe. That's Hess, who is favored right now with Keith Asmussen. For more on this race, let's check in with Paula Duca.
Thanks, Greg. Thanks, Mig. Thanks, Jonathan. Good to see you guys. Yeah, we had a ton of weather overnight. It actually was raining pretty hard, so I would say about 11, 12 o'clock, and it's continued to rain. Now, we're supposed to get a little bit more rain in the next coming hours. It looks like it might be light. as we keep on going. So we'll see and monitor that. The track is muddy. It's been playing okay. You can come from off the pace. It seems like it's been a fair racetrack. Now to get to this race, how we start you off with these Archiebreds, and they're always tough to get an assessment on here. A huge draw in with a 13 here, Hess, for Randy Morse. Like you were mentioning, Greg, has taxed in the Mistletoe. Going to be a heavy favorite, especially with the scratch of the 5 in there. And, Hess is a horse that had been running in, State Bred Company, broke his maiden, in the maiden special weight ranks. So that just does not happen. You don't see a lot of horses and then come and show up for 20,000. Now, he tried the 20,000 Open Company in May. Now, it seems like Randy's horses have really been okay. The worry has been here at Oakland whether you have enough racing fitness. Now, over the sloppy racetrack, sometimes it'll carry you a little bit more. So I get where they're going. The 13's the horse to beat. The 8 Dalton's Rut Row, I love the way this horse looked on the racetrack. Now, Christian Torres rode a horse for Tom Swearington yesterday, came from out of the clouds and ran a good second. It seems like Tom got his horses here a little bit earlier. There's so many farms around here in Arkansas. I think his horses are going to be a lot fitter earlier in this meet. I think he made it a priority, and Christian Torres will be aboard. And whenever you get Christian, you're going to be live. And I think this horse kind of figured everything out. And then the 12 Money Strike. 1 for 19 is hard to get aboard, but this is a horse that's completely changed on the turf. An Archie-bred that went over to Louisiana and just was really good on the turf and actually ran a mile race last time. And when he ran on the slop, the one time on the slop, it was awful. But I just can't ignore that he's kind of in good form at 1 for 19. And then, obviously, Greg, the 3's the other play in here. The horse, the Thistle Downs horses have done okay, and the Mahoney Valley horses have done okay, but he's got recent racing. But at the end of the day, I'm going to land on the 8. I just thought the 8 looked tremendous in the post parade, and Tom Swearington and Christian Torres, they strike at a high rate.
Yeah, that is Dalton's Rut Row, the 8, off since May of this meet last year. The last time we saw him, that was a win to get that first win on the resume, and we'll see how he comes right back. This 3 horse, though, Rhino Wrecker, making a nice appearance, warming up, coming off a maiden special win at a little bit softer circuit.
Yeah, but he's dropping back in with Arkansas Breds, and he's making, to me, an appropriate drop in class to the $20,000 level after breaking his maiden at Mountaineer.
Yeah, the thing I like about this one is that a lot of, the top choices in here, their figures are all very similar. I liked about Rhino Wrecker is he's got a little early pace to him, a little speed to him. And on a racetrack like this, when you could pop away from there and kind of do your thing on the front end, it always gives me a little bit more confidence. And so at 7-2 instead of the 13 that you're getting 5-2 on, I just went towards the inside.
Left-hand side of your screen, that is the favorite for this Fifth Avenue division of this New York Stallion Series. Boston's finest for Chad Brown, coming off 2 starts ago, that maiden win, and then first time in against winners, not just in Stakes Company in the Maid of the Mist, but facing the uber-talented with the Angels, who was undefeated, 4 for 4 for Linda Rice. And with that one out, to JK's point, and he mentioned would probably be 1-9 in here if we're lucky, I guess. Yeah, getting away from that one and being second to that one, no slouch of a performance.
No, not at all. I mean, listen, with the Angel is shown to be a special kind of talent that I'm sure we will see in Open Company before too long.
So back to Oakland on this muddy track, set for the 5th. Again, Paul, he's going to wind up with Dalton's Rut Row off since May. Christian Torres riding for Tom Swearingen. The last time we saw this 4-year-old, it was a maiden-breaking win, career start number 8. Let's go to Matt Dinnerman for the call.
First, and then Hess to the outside. Here's Hess. We're ready to go. And we're off. Shea Wiz hopped in the air at the start, then took up. Dalton's Retro also taking up at the start. Rhino Wrecker, the quickest of them all, leads the way from Money Strike, who presses from the outside second. Wicked Prince in the third position with Point Blank. They're together now 2 lengths off dueling leaders down the back stretch. 1.5 lengths to Hess out of harm's way on the outside, taking the 5th spot from Blessed Vision, who's back in 6th with Dalton's Retro. Street Commander is next with Spoonman the Gray Horse, a gap of 2 to Outlaw Run, another 4 to Shea Whiz, and Mr. Cougar drops to the rear, probably 20 lengths from first to last as they round the far turn. Rhino Wrecker is the leader with Money Strike. Their heads apart with 5/16 to go. Gap of 2 to Wicked Prince, clearly into third. Hess in an all-out drive 4th right now. Point Blank backing away. Dalton's Retro diving to the fence. He's got horse. He's making a move at the top of the lane. Money Strike is taking over the lead from Rhino Wrecker. On the far outside, Blessed Vision is rolling home. Wicked Prince at a price is in with a shot. Hess right behind them has to steady and alter course. Dalton's Retro on the inside continuing to grind away. Blessed Vision, 16th to go, has the lead. Hess grandstand side is charging from out of the pack. Wicked Prince there too, but it's Blessed Vision and Walter Dela Cruz to win it. Blessed Vision over Wicked Prince. Third home was Money Strike and then Hess.
Blessed Vision with the victory. The win came on a wet track back in May. That was a sloppy sealed track, but does it on an off track again here to get win number 2.
Yeah, and the rider, Dela Cruz, did a really good job because this horse was trying to lug in, and he did a very good job keeping him straight without losing much forward momentum.
Back to our Spendthrift Farm 2-year-old race of the week here coming up, and with more on this 5th Avenue division. Let's go back down to Maggie.
Yeah, even though we saw a close finish going back to the boys' version of this New York Stallion Series Stakes, it did feel like Sacrosanct was a prohibitive favorite. But here it feels like things are a little bit more wide open, at least going into it. And while we see Boston's Finest as your favorite, going to take a look at Chad Brown's other horse in here, and that is the maiden, number 11, Material Girl. And in both of her efforts so far, she's almost shown this element of greenness that we're not necessarily accustomed to with Chad Brown runners in their young careers. But sometimes, you know, horses are individuals just like us, and some mature and figure things out a little bit quicker than others. And maybe she's just one that has had to do so within racing, in that, you know, she got a little lost down the lane first time out. Then last time she was out sprinted early. She had to weave in amongst horses and just seemed like she was kind of just figuring it all out and had to take a lot of kickback in her last start. She is one, though, that I like her keeping at the 7 furlong. She has a little bit more length and scope to her frame, and she just looks incredibly fit and well defined heading into this effort. So we'll see what she does here. But again, I think there's still some development mentally for her to attain, and we'll see if she can show it here in this stakes. As number 1 is Bam's Bliss Kiss, I think there might be distance limitations, but I will say this about her last effort when finishing 4th behind With the Angels in the Key Sense. It was her first time not being on the lead, right? And as I mentioned, you know, sometimes these young horses still need to figure things out within racing, and she launched this big wide move around the turn, and she kind of got a little tired, a little bit lost when she got towards the front end. And then when the winner actually went by her, she re-engaged a little bit. So I'm wondering if I'm incorrect about saying she's distance limited and that the 7 furlongs might be okay for her, because she looks phenomenal here. She is another one that has developed quite nicely. I remember writing in my notes first time out in Saratoga that she looked like a little pocket rocket. She's done some growing in the interim, so I appreciate that. And of course, Dave Duggan, all of his horses are just, you know, the picture of health and fitness and conditioning. So I want to give her another try here as the outside runner as we jump to the inside, from the inside to the outside. Number 12, Stone Smuggler for Jorge Abreu. She finished 3rd behind With the Angels last time out, and she was up towards the front end. She just is a horse that, again, has developed so well throughout the latter half of this 2-year-old season. She's bigger, she's stronger, she's more athletic. So if she takes another step forward, it puts her right in the mix, Greg.
Very interesting race coming up. And yes, Stone Smuggler put together a big performance, albeit a defeat last time out. But she's a player, no question. This one remains the favorite. Chad Brown Barn poised to likely collect another Eclipse Award this year. And it's a talented filly who still looks like she is on the improve. Broke her maiden 2 starts back.
Yeah, and just came up second best to Boston's Finest. Seems like she's got a good style too, right? She's a filly that will put herself in a good stalking spot. She won't leave herself too much to do.
Yeah, and you're right, Wolfie. I mean, she is, kind of going in the right direction, right? She didn't run poorly first time out. She wasn't overly bet first time out either for a horse debuting at Saratoga for Chad Brown. Sometimes those horses can be odds on. She was 4-1 that day, and she comes back and she runs well. And I do think that she is the most likely winner. I think she deserves to be the favorite. But like we've seen so often here in New York, Chad Brown's horses are typically, and some might argue this isn't even an accurate statement, overbet. Just a little bit shorter in price than they probably should be, but they do win a lot of races. I just think that in a situation like this, with a more wide open feeling race, it does present some opportunity for other horses that maybe are a couple of ticks higher than they should be.
Yeah, this one doesn't seem like that imposing, coming in with the credentials type of 3-2 favorite for this barn, does it?
No, it feels like this horse should be, the 2-1 favorite, 5-2 favorite, and deservedly so. When you start creeping down to the 3-2 area, it just doesn't feels like some. If this one's too low, then others have to be presenting a bit of value.
Well, there's Manny Franco. He'll ride for Chad Brown coming up, trying to get his third win on the afternoon. We could see a very hot pace in this race, and this one could be part of it. Luis Rivera Jr. won the first two on the card today. He's on Bam's Bliss Kiss.
Yeah, this is one of the ones I thought actually offered some value at 8-1, some speed from the inside.
Stunning Sugar comes in from Finger Lakes off a dominant maiden special win.
The daughter of Central Banker, nice win up at Finger Lakes. This is considerably tougher.
Potentially more pace with Mischief Lady.
Yeah, another one I wouldn't talk anyone off of, especially at 8-1.
Back to dirt for the 5.
Yeah, this one is one that I don't have any interest in.
99-1 at least, Queen Atlas.
Yeah, won on debut at a very slow figure, came back and run poorly in the mud at Finger Lakes.
Here is the favorite for Chad Brown, Boston's Finest.
Yeah, deserves to be the favorite and ran against probably the best horse in this division with the Angels last time.
11-1 winner, first time out. This is Storm Changer.
Yeah, and was slow early, did not break well, and came with a relentless rally. She could take a step forward.
Potentially more pace. D's a rock for Chad Summers.
Yeah, you're right about that, Wolf. He certainly is going to be a part of the pace picture. I don't think will be a part of the picture in the winner's circle.
Big effort. It was on a wet track for Princess Mischief to break her maiden last start.
Yeah, dropped way out of it, got a ton of pace, and closed strongly.
Beware the other Chad Brown.
Yeah, I mean, this one isn't impossible either at 12-1. Drawn well to kind of come from out of it.
And speed drawn outside. Here's Stone Smuggler.
I think the post really aids her going 7 furlongs. She has speed, but it allows her to get into the race the right way. To me, she's the most likely upsetter of your favorite.
2 minutes to post to this Fifth Avenue division of the New York Stallions Series. Get serious once you signed up with Naira Bets and take advantage of track stats. Hopefully bet smarter and win bigger. That's the idea. Weekly Aqueduct track trend stats and betting insights all available. Once you remember, again at NairaBets.com. All right, so back to Stone Smuggler. Yeah, been beat in the debut, but every single start has run good and gotten better and better all 3 starts.
You like to see that, right? A horse that takes those incremental steps, improves with every start. And the fact that she has natural speed, Jonathan, but the outside draw gives her options.
Yeah, I mean, and look, she hadn't run since September, so there's a world in which she'll take another step forward off of this effort. And look, she's just a much more attractive price than what you're getting from a horse that she's exiting a race with. Boston's Finest is going to be significantly shorter than here. And yeah, I mean, there's a lot to like, and especially the draw for me.
Maybe more so than anyone in this field, is she the filly that seems to be going in the right direction?
Well, it feels like it to me. I like that she improved from her first start where she was well beaten by With the Angels, came back and won nicely in a stakes race at Finger Lakes, and then came back and took another step forward, was only beaten 2.5 lengths by With the Angels. I just think the draw, the outside post is the key for her because she has that natural speed, but she doesn't have to be rushed.
And one of the things I like about her is that she's clearly always had a lot of talent. On debut, she was right around 6-1 into the teeth of With the Angels, who, if you look back at it and you think about it, With the Angels was probably the buzziest of horses all summer at Saratoga. That one first-time starter that absolutely couldn't lose, and this horse was 6-1 into the teeth of that information.
Well, you saw our analyst selections up there. A lot of weight on this filly here. Everyone going with Stone Smuggler from that outside spot. Favorite? It's still Boston's Finest, Maggie.
And I don't get it. Sacrosanct, I thought he deserved to be that short of a price. Boston's Finest does not, in my opinion. Not only does she not lay over this field on form, she doesn't lay over them physically either. She looks fine, I suppose. You know, if I'm going to split hairs on a really heavy favorite, I wish she looked better in her coat. She looks very dull in that respect, but that's kind of typical for Chad Brown's horses this time of year. So yeah, I just really do not get it. And for me, I much preferred the look, the form of the 12 and here Stone Smuggler, though I really thought Bam's Bliss Kiss looked tremendous. I just don't know what kind of trip she works out from that inside post position, Greg.
Loading up for the Fifth Avenue division. Thank you, Maggie. Favorite 3-2. Manny Franco getting adjusted there in the saddle. Let's see if she can live up to this price.
Yeah, nice, right? We're in December here at Aqueduct, and we've got 2 races worth $500,000 each. Nice to be a jockey in this day and age.
Yeah, absolutely. I see what you did there. I'm going to throw out this disclaimer. Boston Finest might win, but I still think that the consensus is that she's just too short of a price. Doesn't mean you're not supposed to try to bet someone else, even in hindsight that she wins. I just think she's too short.
It's our Spendthrift Farm 2-year-old race of the day, 3-2 on Boston's Finest for trainer Chad Brown. Manny Franco looking for a 3rd win on the afternoon. Let's go to Chris Griffin for the call.
Mischief Lady, Princess Mischief. Blossoming Erudite. Material Girl. Material Girl, Queen Atlas. Last to load, Stone Smuggler to the outside. Time for the Fifth Avenue division, part of the New York Stallions Series 40th running. Stone Smuggler. Moving forward. And in. All set. And they're off. Stone Smuggler has early speed towards the outside. Diesel Rock is going to be in that early mix too, and they are tightly bunched towards the inside. There's Bam's Bliss Kiss is going to hold the rail. Plenty of pressure from Stunning Sugar, who's in that mix. Holding in the 3 path is Mischief Lady, doesn't want to lose ground. 5 across the racetrack here in the early stages. Blossoming Erudite is 4 wide, 5 wide is going to be Diesel Rock. Taken back is now Stone Smuggler, broke with the leaders, but is now back to the 6th spot. And a host of pursuers in behind. Boston's Finest just had to tap on the brakes, is in behind, as Queen Atlas has got some forward momentum there with Storm Changer. Very tightly packed here on the front end through a 22-3. Opening quarter mile, the 2 trailers, Material Girl with Princess Mischief, and they start to rally from the back. Only 6 lengths would cover them all, and all kinds of trouble there for Queen Atlas. Just had to get checked to the back end of the field. The leader is Bam's Bliss Kiss with a nose in front. Mischief Lady in full pursuit. Storm Changer, Red Silks is right in behind rivals. Blossoming Erudite is looking for a way through. Mischief Lady has the lead. Boston's Finest is making a 4-wide move. Right there is Stone Smuggler, who starts to re-rally it. They reach the top of the stretch. Stone Smuggler, here comes Princess Mischief down the center of the racetrack. It is Stone Smuggler trying to run them right off their feet now with Jose Lescano. Princess Mischief catching with every single stride, and Material Girl is cut loose late too. They approach a final 16th. The leader is Stone Smuggler, who's almost there. Princess Mischief continues to chase the Material Girl. Stone Smuggler wins the Fifth Avenue division. Stone Smuggler wins it over Material Girl, who's in a photo there with Princess Mischief, Boston's Finest, and Diesel Rock in 1 minute 24-4 as part of the New York Stallions Series Fifth Avenue division.
Stone Smuggler, the victory. Jubilant Connections. And in defeat, it's the other Chad Brown, Material Girl. She ran a very good race, had to kind of wait on horses for a little bit as well, swing wide, but it's all about Stone Smuggler.
I think it's a prime example, Jonathan, of why that post was such an advantage for her. There was a mad scramble on for the lead, but that outside draw allowed her to kind of back away from it. She didn't have to take kickback. Yes, she was a bit wide, but an unencumbered path, and she just kept finding a really nice ride by Jose Lezcano. Jorge Abreu does terrific work, and Stone Smuggler, very game victory here.
I think it's a great example of why I and many people enjoy outside posts for horses like this with tactical speed. If she draws the rail and breaks the way she did, she would have had to been stuck in a position where she would either had to take back and eat a bunch of dirt, then have to get sandwiched on and get leaned on from the outside, then try to find a way to get out. She didn't have to do that. She ended up being 4 wide all the way around there, which I'm sure wasn't ideal, but she didn't get stopped. She didn't, Boston's Finest got stopped a few times. It's just outside draws for horses with this skill set, I think, go a long way.
Being a bit wide was the lesser of the evils, but you can, encounter in a big field, and she got it done. How about Honest Mischief, sire of Sankersink, sire of Stone Smuggler? He takes down both of the $500,000 Stallion Stakes.
Very rich purses early on in these 2-year-olds' careers for horses that are New York sired. Just get into these races, and it can pay a lot of bills. 5-2, Stone Smuggler. And, as we talked about, and Boston's Finest, her best might still be yet to come, but she was just overbet.
I think Jonathan framed it perfectly before the race that, yes, she's a nice filly, and nobody would have been shocked if she won. She just seemed a bit overbet, but Stone Smuggler took a ton of money late. I guess everybody saw that. We all picked her. And the fact that she carried all of us over the line with her,
it's hard
even
to do.
Extra special effort.
Indeed. Extra credit for that, no question. 12-11, 10-7, Stone Smuggler, 2 wins now in the last 3 starts. Wins it 5-2 here in the 5th Avenue.
The sun shines bright on Caraconte. His first crops of racing age are showing brilliance on the racetrack with a high percentage of stakes winners. His versatility is evidenced by winners on all surfaces across the globe.
Spandarella could not have been more impressive.
She feels more than pretty. She feels fantastic.
It is all she feels pretty. The sun shines bright on this value sire. Caraconte, standing at Gainesway.
Horse racing? Check. Weekly promotions? Got 'em. Huge payouts? You bet. With Naira Bets. Download the app today and bet on any track, anywhere, anytime with live HD horse races, betting tips and tutorials, expert picks, and more. You bet with Naira Bets. Join now for a new member bonus at NairaBets.com.
Idiomatic in front, 16th to go in the Juddmonte colors. Florent Giroux aboard. Idiomatic to win the Grade 1 Juddmonte Spinster.
Idiomatic is taking the lead. Clarion trying to squeeze through, but it's going to be Idiomatic to win.
And Idiomatic just opens back up here with every stride. No catching. Idiomatic winning the Juddmonte Spinster for Florent Giroux.
Curlin, the classic sire.
This is my Oakland.
Back on our Saturday coverage, they did a very nice job. I actually saw the tree before all the ornaments went on. Looks pretty good, all spruced up.
How good does that look? Nothing like Manhattan around Christmas time. And Caesar Kimmel's office was about eye level, the building behind the tree, of the Star. And every year when they have the Christmas tree lighting, he'd have a big party. And me, my family, he'd have so many people, we'd be standing right there when the tree would light up. Incredible parties he threw there.
Saw a lot of Mariah Carey concerts then, huh? Does she usually do the Christmas?
Yeah, she did. You're absolutely right.
Big Christmas tree.
Stone Smuggler with the win. Jorge Abreu, Jose Lezcano, New York Final Furlong Racing Stable. Winner Circle lead-in brought to you by Facing Tipton Digital, North America's #1 digital auction platform for thoroughbreds. Learn more at digital.phasictipton.com. Impressive performance here, and these are still, look, lightly raced 2-year-olds that have potentially some big futures in front of them.
Yeah, Stone Smuggler feels like she took another step forward today. Big effort for a big purse.
She takes this Spendthrift Farm 2-year-old race of the day. Let's go downstairs to Maggie.
Very jubilant winner's circle here. You guys were up in the big winner's circle. I should say I'm with Dan, Vince, and Sean. Wow, this was a big win for Stone Smuggler, Dan.
This has been on our radar to win this race for 3 or 4 years. We bought this filly a year and a half ago at the yearling sale just for this race. So to get in this race, we're just beyond stoked, and to win it, there's no way in horse racing you buy a horse a year and a half before to win a race, and it actually happened. So we were just over the moon. It was awesome.
The plan came to fruition, Vince. You gave me a big hug and said it. And I said to you, I feel like you have such a talented New York bred filly every year that it surprised me that you actually haven't won this race before.
Yeah, I mean, to Dan's point, like a year and a half ago, we picked out this horse for this race, and it worked out. I mean, how crazy is that? I mean, we're up in the winner's circle watching the race like, the horse espresso shot that kind of put our syndicate on the map. We watched that race from there. We went crazy. Same thing happened today, and whew, we're going to celebrate tonight.
I was going to say, what is this thrill, Sean?
It's just a huge thrill. I came in on a espresso shot with these guys and helped them be a part of this and build it up, and the three of us picked this horse out, 18 months ago, like Dan said, and with this dream, and we made it happen. So, thrilled.
As you should be. What was it about her?
Just her balance, her speed, her hip. She was a little on the smaller side when we bought her, but these honest mischiefs, we've had a few. They've all kind of blossomed as they've gotten into 2-year-old years, and she showed us that she was pretty special all along. So we're thrilled to have her. We got a deal on her.
I was gonna say,
there's no place like home. I know.
You guys have had some huge wins here at the Big A. Enjoy this one like every other.
Thanks, Maggie.
All right, the guys from Final Furlong, really excited. And it's true, Greg, every year it feels like they have such a nice New York bred filly in the roster.
We say it all the time on the show. It pays to have a New York bred, and races like this, there's no better showcase for it with this kind of purse.
It really, I mean, it sounds cliche at this point, but when you have a New York bred, you do start with an advantage. You have an opportunity to run for these big purses, and you think about the size of the gene pool, about roughly 1,000 New York breds foaled a year. You're not having to face the best of the best all the time.
Yeah, but the good news is that you do have the New York bred opportunities, but there's nothing wrong with finding a Tis the Law or a horse that can go on to do big things in open company.
Absolutely. But, take advantage of these first.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Put a bunch of money in the bank account, and then take your chances.
And I swear, in that winner's circle, we got a little fist pump from that little one who knows exactly what happened, I think, here with Stone Smuggler. Even that one was excited. Let's take a look at this cross-country Pick 5. Both these two races part of the sequence. $27 upsetter in there as well with Blessed Vision from Oakland. So automatically, this is now going to be lucrative with 2 legs remaining.
Absolutely. The cross-country is got so much value to it because I think it just kind of goes underneath the radar. I don't think the computers nearly are as involved, and I think that you can really find some great opportunities there.
Well, up next, here we go, the 6th at Oakland, 6 furlong sprint, $16,000 claiming race. And as we send it out to Paula Duca, it's Atlantic Strike Pauly, who is the one to beat on the board, trying to win a 3rd in a row. And it just seems like she has a real nose for the wire.
Yeah, she does, and she's been running really well. And, this is a horse that was been claimed from the Steve Asmussen barn by a new trainer in Bell Ramirez Rodriguez. I got to get used to him a little bit, but he had the winner of Cozy My Boy in the last race yesterday. He's training for End Zone Athletics, and he's got this one for Breakaway Stables. But this was his race last time out, where he just basically took a field gate to wire and did it pretty easily. And I think he can get away with going to the front end and getting it done, and kind of doing the same thing here. Now, you go to the 4-horse in here and Tiffany Twist, and you think to yourself, okay, keep that. Steve Asmussen takes this mare and goes, okay, we're going to drop down to 16. Is it going to be good enough to beat a horse like Atlantic Strike? I just don't know. I do think the 8 obviously gets moved up in this race, considering that she's 2 for 2 over a wet surface. But I'm going to stick with Atlantic Strike in here. I think she speed pops this field. I think she's going to be very, very tough to beat.
Paulie, thanks. Yeah, I mean, she's got so many things going for her. She's on that streak. She's won 3 of her last 4. She's quick. She's drawn inside. She can win on any kind of track, including a wet track. That's why she's 7-5.
Yeah, listen, any horse that's 9 for 23, you know they have a winning habit. She's got speed in the inside. And one thing about Christian Torres, he doesn't keep you guessing about what he's going to do. He doesn't take anything away that a horse does easily.
What we just saw with Stone Smugglers being towards the outside, having tactical speed, and why that could be such a great spot to be. So I'm going to contradict myself a little bit here, saying that I think that the inside horse, the one Atlantic Strike, drew well. But that's because, in my opinion, she's the speed of the speed. Mm-hmm. And so when you're the speed of the speed, being down on the inside is okay. It's just when there's a lot of other speed and you happen to be one of them, I think being towards the outside is better.
Be like a tidal wave coming over on you.
Well, that's it. And that's why you have to protect inside position, particularly in off-going like this. The kickback is much harsher than it is on a fast track.
What about, though, and there's the 8, who I'm going to bring up here, that gray 5-year-old mare to the outside. Another speed. Drawn outside. Paul mentioned now 2 for 2 on off tracks. Likes to be forward. What's the game plan here?
Well, I think, Richie, I mean, I'm curious, because there's that speed to the inside and you've got this comfortable outside draw, why would you want to go get into a duel when you can just be forward and kind of sit off of the other one?
Well, exactly. There's less urgency if you're drawn outside, so you're not going to be on the send to make the lead. Although I will say I question a few starts back, August 10th, Icy River opened up a 12-length lead. That's usually not rider. That's horse just taking a rider, right, running off a bit. So I wonder if maybe she's not a bit headstrong.
See if Martin Schwann can try and keep her under control this afternoon. We're set for the 6th start of the late pick 5. Matt Dinnerman, the call.
Go Zip. We're ready to go. And Lyroff, Atlantic Strike with a good break, shown rain to show speed. She's got company, though. Shippett's there. Icy River on the far outside taking control. It's Icy River with a narrow lead. Christian Torres getting the work on Atlantic Strike to keep pace, and these two hook up down the backstretch run. They put 3 lengths on Shippett off the wicked fast pace here. They're flying out on the lead. Another 4 lengths back in the field to Insightful Miss. Tiffany Twist second to last, and Class Code well behind, over 12 lengths behind, but has a fast tempo to chase. 21 4/5 seconds. The first quarter mile on this course, they are zooming along. Atlantic Strike, Icy River going at it here. Ship It on the outside gets a good trip. Tries to creep in 3 wide, well sent along. Insightful Miss is moving forward down on the rail. Here comes Insightful Miss and Chelsea Bailey right up the inside. Atlantic Strike is put away. Icy River now has to contend with Insightful Miss, who soars to the lead. Tiffany Twist following Insightful Miss's move. Insightful Miss, furlong to go, 2 ahead. Tiffany Twist gaining good ground on the outside. Tiffany Twist, Insightful Miss digs in on the rail. Tiffany Twist on the outside, Insightful Miss. These two hit it together very tight with Atlantic Strike 3rd and Class Code 4th.
Who got it? Photo finish. Tiffany Twist, the 4. Team Asmussen, Dad Steve, son Keith, or inside with the 3, Insightful Miss with Chelsea Bailey.
Well, there was an all-out speed duel. The 1 Atlantic Strike, Christian Torres had to hold his rail position. Icy River, big speed, took their toll on them, and it came down to 2 back runners, and it appeared the 4 Tiffany Twist did get up in the shadow of the wire. Although it's a funny angle, guys, so I'm not going out on a limb here. Insightful Miss got a very nice ride by Chelsea Bailey coming up the inside. Here comes Keith Asmussen looking for his first win of the meet. And I'll wait till they post the photo, but I
all the momentum
think
too
the
outside.
4
look
like the 4 got up.
Yeah, I think it's outside, especially because of that angle. And you can kind of see the angle here. You can feel the angle. You're a little bit behind. We're a little bit behind.
We talked about the early pace in this race, too, and there was no holding back between the 2 speeds, was there?
Ooh. That's a tough angle, guys.
I'm not very close.
Yeah. Listen, I picked the 4. I like the 4. I'm not confident.
Incredibly tough to make that call with the views we're getting. We'll take one more look here. Look, Atlantic Strike, the 1, the 8 Icy River, they threw it down early, and a credit to Atlantic Strike to even hang around that late. But it winds up becoming a race between these two. Insightful Miss, the 3, Here comes Tiffany Twist. Keith Asmussen, Red Silks outside, riding for Dad. And it is the 4, just up for the win. 4-3, 1-7, 3-1 mild upset here over a 6-5 favorite in third.
It was an interesting race to watch, too, how it developed, right, with the speed duel between the 8 Icy River and the 1 Atlantic Strike. Insightful Miss makes that inside move with Chelsea Bailey. But Keith Asmussen followed her before he angled out to the clear. I think 2 heads-up rides here. Nice to see Keith Asmussen get his first Oakland meet win. Early in this meeting, he came off a tough injury, got hurt at Church earlier in the spring, and I feel like he found his form pretty quickly.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, to come back, Richie, I know no one knows it better than you. To come back after an injury, it's nice to be back out there, but you're not out there just to be taking a little cruise around there.
No, you're not riding
Still
in Central
ahead.
Park.
Most important race in South America. Run since 1887. It is a win, and you're in for next year's Breeders' Cup Turf, the Grand Premio. Carlos Pellegrini, 20 will line up on the lawn. Stay ahead. Back with you on our Saturday coverage here on Fox Sports 1. You're watching America's Day of the Races, brought to you in part by Hillendale at Alapa. As we get set for a finale on this card here in South Ozone Park, New York to come. $20,000 maiden claiming race, so they're all for sale for that price. Mile and an eighth at this level for these runners. We could see some horses getting a little tired late here.
A mile and an eighth could be stretching some of these that are out of limits. I mean, your favorite on the inside makes a lot of sense with that inside draw. Last time I didn't think she took advantage of that inside position and kind of relinquished it. She just better go to the lead with this colt and just make them catch you. Don't try to pass. Just make them work to get to you.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think the biggest mistake you can make when you have a horse, you know, trying to go a distance of ground is to try to walk the dog out there, especially when you're dealing with a bunch that are, you know, they're a little hungry for a win. I would just let this horse roll on the front end. Last time was close enough going the 9 furlongs. shouldn't be a problem from this inside. Just send away from there, save ground, and hope that you can hang on and get there before they do.
It's a long way back to third with this. And there's the horse, runner-up last time out. That was Taparino. Who's going to have the outside post. We'll try again. Taparino, one who's going to be trying to run late and hopefully get a bit of a setup. Leg up to Eric Cancel, who will take over for Katie Davis, who was aboard last time out. Next door, though, Active Duty, one who's had several races that are right in the ballpark with what Salacious has done.
Yeah, I mean, this. I'm going to pick this horse. I feel like a little stranger danger, right? This horse has been running in Kentucky. So you're getting a trainer change, so there's an opportunity there for some improvement potentially. So I just thought this one was an interesting alternative to a horse that was going to be bet to be the favorite in the one, Salacious.
So back to Salacious. Look, they were trying to get it done in Maiden Special Weight Company at Tampa with this one for a while. Now more realistic with new connections.
And a good inside draw.
Yeah, makes sense for sure.
Active Duty, Dylan Davis, 4-1.
Yeah, first time off the Wayne Potts claim, comes out of a good barn, goes to a good barn.
Second start on dirt, very satisfactory.
Yeah, I thought this one deserves a look, but I think probably too short of a price, the Brad Cox effect.
It gets a fast track on dirt for the first time, too, so sort of a new scenario for that one as well. 9-2 first trumpet.
Could be the thorn in the side of Salacious because this horse does have good speed, doesn't seem to hang around too long, though.
LC Go Lucky, nearly 30-1 for a barn that won at this same price earlier on the card.
Slow early, slow late, slow on turf, slow on dirt.
Just Be Honest, 16-1. Christopher Elliott.
Yeah, ran okay last time. Sprinting, now stretches back out.
Dad, of course, Stewart, and won the first two legs of the Triple Crown with Smarty Jones back in 2004. Here's Mono y Mono, Wayne Potts barn.
I mean, have a few turf races, figures that kind of fit a little bit in here, but the dirt races haven't been very good.
Noble won. There's one race, I guess. It was on a wet track that would make this horse a little interesting, but the rest, not so much.
In these lower-level maiden claiming races, I usually don't get surprised. This one would surprise me.
There's Dangerous Driver, Jose Lezcano.
Yeah, Dangerous Driver's got a couple races sprinkled in there that could make this one a possibility.
And what would Taparino need to do to try and turn the tables on Salacious?
It's a tall order considering the post, too. Just a bad draw with a short run to that first turn.
Yeah, that first turn comes up almost immediately at this two-turn configuration here at 1 1/8 at Aqueduct. Minute to post here in this finale. Here from New York, still a lot to come, including the Saturday feature from Oakland, that Grand Premio Carlos Pellegrini. Win and you're in for the Breeders' Cup Turf. Play all the action, including that race from Argentina with Nauer Bets. Bonus 200, code to use at sign-up to get that $200 deposit match sign-up bonus. Bet any track, anywhere. Anytime. Let's head downstairs to Maggie.
Yeah, we'll take a look here at your favorite. From the rail is number 1, Salacious, who's wearing different equipment for the first time. He's actually wearing a extension blinker covering his right outside eye. And as Meg often talks about, that can prohibit a horse from getting out of the gate cleanly because they can't necessarily see the gates opening. And on top of that, being drawn on the inside, you can't really see the horses either leaving. So I think those two things coupled together does not necessarily equal success for your favorite, especially if he's going to try to win this race on the front end. We'll see what happens, but as I've said time and time again, I don't like to see that extension blinker, especially in this type of scenario. As we'll check in with the horse who he did finish in front last time, and that's number 10, Taparino, for Jenna Antonucci. I know he's going to have to find some quite a few more lengths to take down this field. He does have one race that would make him a winner in here if you go way back to Gulfstream Park in April of this past year. But I just thought overall, from the physical standpoint of things, this guy looked best. And he's energetic, he's sharp. So we'll see what he does. Again, as Meg said, and I echo that outside post position does him no favors here. Moving on to the horse that I'm ultimately going to land on, as JK said, love a little stranger danger. And last time out, number 2, Active Duty, who was involved in that controversial race in which the rider on Ultimate Striker stood up before the wire. It was at second wire finish that day. But Active Duty had to break 12 of 12. He got a ridiculously wide trip, and now he gets to draw more inside against a field that I think, at least on paper, looks less than what he faced last time out. I know he's 0 for 16, and this is not my type of horse, but physically looks fine. And usually these Wayne Potts horses that show up looking physically well turned out, they do tend to show up on the racetrack. So question marks with your favorite, though, Greg.
Yeah, thanks, Maggie. Look, it's that kind of race. I mean, no one's record in here is going to catch your eye. They're all offers, and a lot of them are 0 for many, including your favorite. But it's just, is it the case of finding the right field for someone in here today?
We got a 10-horse field. There's a bunch of horses that have had plenty of tries. One certainty, there will be one less maiden coming out of this race.
Races like this, I think the distance can become a big separator, I think. I'm going to pick the 2, but I'm going to predict that the winner, if it's not the 2 or if it is a 2, is going to win by 3 or more lengths. I don't think it'll be close. Whoever does win.
Pedigrees from both the 1 and 2 that suggest, and look, we saw it from Salacious obviously last start at a 1 1/8 at this level, can handle this distance. But you would think with those pedigrees, 1 1/8 against this competition, not a problem.
Salacious by Tappet, Active Duty by Medaglia d'Oro. I mean, these are pedigrees that say they're supposed to run all day long.
3 to 1 on the 1, 2, and 3 in here, and not far behind First Trumpet, who is intriguing with the speed that this one has showed as well. This one could be forward. We'll see if this one can last a 1 1/8, though. Riding on these, it's sticking around too for a maiden 20 claiming race to end the day, Mig, in this cold weather as a rider. What was it like?
If you were on a contender, you didn't care. You just wanted to be there. When they draw the races, riders don't know what race it's going to be. So I like when people say, well, he's sticking around to ride the last. It could have came up the first race. It just depends on the placement of the racing secretary.
See what happens here. Top 4 all look like strong contenders. And we'll see if that 10-horse outside, Taparino.
Mig would have stuck around to ride a donkey.
Yes, he would.
In the last.
I would still ride a donkey. Nothing like riding racehorses. Somebody acting up, guys. The 4-horse.
That is Luis Rivera Jr., I believe. Yeah, First Trumpet.
Don't like when they linger in that position there. Get back on the horse or get completely off him. You don't want to be in that position if they happen to go up in the air because you've got no chance to get away from them then.
Finale on the Saturday card from Aqueduct. Let's go upstairs. Chris Griffin, the call.
All set. And they're off. Off slowly was Salacious at the rail. First Trumpet right out towards the front and sprints clear is quickly up by 1.5 lengths. It's First Trumpet. Luis Rivera Jr. will take him into that first turn. Then towards the outside, here comes Just Be Honest, is ready to challenge, and Just Be Honest wants to go. Just Be Honest, Christopher Elliott, now they put a neck on First Trumpet, who's back to second, is going to steady here, is now crossing over, is Just Be Honest, they're 1-2. Joining them towards the outside, here comes Mano y Mano, is now in the mix, and in between horses comes Very Satisfactory the Gray. Also right there is LC Go Lucky, who's a shared 5th, and towards the outside comes Dangerous Driver, trying to make up some momentum and save some ground, tucks right in behind this leading group. Is to the outside of Salacious, going to be that mid-pack. Then further back is Taparino, is towards the outside of Active Duty, second to last, and the trailer, Noble One. They sort themselves out through an opening quarter of 24-3, that measured opening quarter there. And towards the inside, First Trumpet and Just Be Honest. These two still head and head as they square off here, approaching a half mile left to go. 49-3, the half mile time. Trying to run on is Mano y Mano, is right there in third. Now has to move forward is Very Satisfactory, is not cutting the margin yet. LC Go Lucky is towards the outside, and here comes a run from Dangerous Driver. Dangerous Driver is passing rivals quickly. The lime green cap towards the outside is now taken fourth. Following Dangerous Driver is Taparino. Salacious nowhere to go, has some horse nowhere to run. Then comes Active Duty, and far back it's Noble One. The leader is Just Be Honest, and Just Be Honest, they went 1:14-1. For 3/4 of a mile, they reach the top of the stretch, and the front two continue to go at it. Just Be Honest and First Trumpet. Can Dangerous Driver sustain that rally? Mano y Mano is down towards the inside. A host of pursuers in behind the top two who are shoulder to shoulder in a final furlong. It's Just Be Honest trying to edge clear. First Trumpet not going anywhere, coming right back inside the final 16. Just Be Honest almost there. Just Be Honest wins the nightcap. It's Just Be Honest to win it over First Trumpet. Then came Very Satisfactory in a photo with Salacious, who had a late run, and Active Duty in 1:52-1.
Just Be Honest 18-1 to close out this card. Had a couple of even efforts against soft company. Handles this mile in an eighth today.
And the complexion of the race changed a bit at the start. Salacious didn't get off to the best beginning, but what do the two horses running 1-2 have in common? They were forward. And lower level horses are more reluctant to pass other horses, and they're also more easily discouraged, so you want forward position. And these two basically ran 1-2 around the racetrack.
Jonathan, what kind of parlay, playing college football bowl games or whatever, any Saturday college football, would you need to put together to win $45,000?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I mean, you'd have to, it'd be tough. Yeah, like a 6, 7, 8 teamer, depending on
so many calls, you'd need to go your way.
Ugh, it's tough.
And playing the pick 5 here, you can eliminate some decisions, take the entire field, leave it up to a couple of races, and you're going to get $45,000 back. Obviously got to do some good handicapping along the way, but we had a 1-2 favorite part of this sequence, a 5-2 shot as well, and it still pays $45,000.
You would have to go deep in this leg, though, right?
I would think so, yeah. You'd have to spread pretty heavily here. This wasn't a horse that there's a bunch of people running around saying, oh, I love that horse today. It definitely one that had to jump up and really appreciate the distance. But, it's you make a great point, though, Wolfie, that it's a much more approachable opportunity for a lifetime or a month-changing, year-changing score.
You must be living right if that's a month for you.
No, the audience.
I get it. 6-4-3-1 finish, 18-1 to close it out. And we're $45,000 back in this late pick 5. Just be honest. With a big upset, young Christopher Elliott making Dad Stewart proud with this win for Jimmy Ryerson.
They come on for the finish in the Pilgrim Stakes. Annapolis by a head.
It is Annapolis in front. It is Annapolis to win the Coolmore Turf Mile.
Enhance your handicapping with AI Fast Facts, exclusively on Naira Bets. Open your Naira Bets app, click View Runner Details, and a stat-driven fact will appear for all U.S. thoroughbred racehorses. Download the Naira Bets app to start using Fast Facts today.
RaceLens is the most in-depth product in horse racing, with unique features found nowhere else. True odds, predictive analysis, and pace projection. RaceLens. It will change the way you follow horse racing and take your game to the next level.
And they're off in the Curlin Florida Derby. After 3 quarters in 112-1, Known Agenda is now on to take over the lead. It's Known Agenda for St. Elias Stable. Florida Derby winner, Known Agenda.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. RTN has packages that start at $5 per month.
Picture time for young Christopher Elliott, following in his father's footsteps. Bright future in front of him. Gets a win here to close out the card at Aqueduct.
Starting to gain some traction, too. And this has always been a time of year, and Aqueduct's been a proving ground for apprentice jockeys. And he's a nice, quiet young man, much like his father.
Just be honest. 18-1. And putting away First Trumpet, who was that one we talked about. It could be dangerous with that front end ability. Obviously, that poor beginning for Salacious, as you mentioned, kind of changed things a lot early in this race.
Yeah, and then he was just stymied in traffic through the entirety of the far turn, and he rallied on. He's a horse, Salacious, that I think you got to give another try to, just not working out good trips, although he's building more and more excuses, isn't he?
Yeah, and the problem is he's going to kind of always be short in some of the races he shows up in, and he's not necessarily one that you can trust.
This is remarkable. With an odds-on favorite, a 5-2 shot. I'm not saying it was easy to get this by any means, but even if you love those two, but that is an incredible payoff. That's the cross-country, 5,779, but 45,000 plus for the here in New York, late pick 5. This one pretty good as well, with 2 big numbers in there. Well done if you put that together. We love this pick 5. That's why. As we get back to Oakland, and we're in the midst of a pick 5. Leg 2 coming up here. Starts the late pick 4. 6 furlongs. Still muddy conditions in Hot Springs for this maiden special weight. For 2-year-olds in this spot, it's El Prestigio. Steve Asmussen has son Eric aboard, 9-5 favorite from the inside.
He should be very tough here. He's already run well in slop. He has speed from the inside. Eric Asmussen's name's got to be high up on the list for Eclipse Award for Champion Apprentice.
Here he is. 3 straight races. He's run pretty strong figures, including on a sloppy, sealed, wet track last time out. Here's Motel Patel.
Yeah, has some early speed. Ran well enough first time out.
Yeah, gets a next out winner in that spot. Blinkers going on for Papa Echo, the 4.
Yeah, add those blinkers and Loris Christian Torres at a big price.
Gun Runner Charlie. I mean, if Gun Runner's your sire, automatically you're going to take money first time out, aren't you?
There's been some siblings that have got some really, really good early pace figures. I think Gun Runner Charlie might be kind of quick early.
D. Wayne Lucas, the legend, sending out a first-timer with wise decision. He'll have Keith Asmussen on.
Yeah, put Keith Asmussen on his first graded stakes winner last year at Oakland. And yeah, Wayne's been known to pop with a firster here and there.
7 interesting with a couple of runs out of town. Can do Andrew.
Yeah, another one who's got a little bit of early speed but does have to try to put it all together.
Blinkers going on Saving Heart for start number 3.
Yeah, he's going to have to take a step forward. Maybe the blinkers will help facilitate that.
Martin Brodeur, Mark Cassidy runner, son of Nyquist.
Yeah, wasn't bet first time out. Didn't do much running either.
Trigger Point, big price, first-time starter for John Ortiz.
Yeah, not taking a tremendous amount of money for a short-leaf stable horse at Oakland Park.
Here's We Need a Favor. Did face winners, actually, last start of Canterbury.
Yeah, I mean, we need a favor. The favor that we need is for him to be a little faster.
And 15-1, first-time starter outside. Max got excited.
Well, it begs the question, why did Max get excited? But comes in this Louisiana bred off of a slow, steady work tap.
Post time coming up. 7th starts this pick 4 as we go to Paulie.
Yeah, I love the puns you guys throw out there. El Prestigio, we'll start out with the 2-horse in here. This is the horse to beat. The only thing I'm worried about with this horse, you get the inside draw, you're going to have to press from the inside. Now, he ran good. And listen, he was second to Ferocious. And Ferocious, we all thought, was the best winner at the time of a maiden special weight race with that huge buyer. Now, obviously, he didn't go that forward, but he's still a really nice horse. You know, he came back to run a good second last time out. My worry is the time before that, he had a 4-length lead, and he kind of blew it. And I'm wondering if he's going to have to really separate himself from this group. And if there's anybody else in here that can go with him early, he'll probably be on the front end, especially when you get that draw Mig always talks about. Listen, guys, I landed on the 5. You know, you talking about the gun runners. You know, I talked to Kelly Bainham about this horse, and she told me, listen, the reason why they came down here was for this horse. They wanted to go long first time out, but she thought, you know, maybe it might be a little bit too much for him first time out. Like Jonathan says, you know, they had to go to the gate last time to get their gate card because he had not been to the gate in like 35 days. So he broke out of there good, and she thinks he's going to be really, really quick. We'll see what happens from there. But I know that they like this horse an awful lot. And then the 7, Can Do Andrew. I think you make a good point. You know, Wolfie's horse is consistent. I know an Iowa bred, but 2 nice little races. And I wouldn't dismiss the old great goalie there, Martin Brodeur. Mark Cassidy's horses are running, and you're getting 12-1. But I'll land on the 5 in here, Gun Runner Charlie.
That is the first-time starter. Thank you, Paula. Yeah, the 5, 6-1 right now for Kelly Bainham. Yeah, Mark Casse with the 9. Really made a lot of noise this summer at Saratoga with his youngsters.
His 2-year-olds were just popping at Saratoga, but he came in with a plan. He got up there early for the Belmont Stakes Racing Festival, and he stayed there, and they worked over the track, and he felt like he had horses prepared to run big first time out at Saratoga, and really executed his plan well.
6-5 favorite, though. Steve Asmussen, son Eric, El Prestigio, Speed, inherits the rail with a scratch of the 1. We'll see after 3 consecutive runner-up finishes if today is the day to graduate and get that first win.
One thing about Oakland, too, right? Always these big fields.
And coming in from all these different jurisdictions.
Everywhere.
It is what makes it so incredibly hard to handicap, but so lucrative as well.
Absolutely. I mean, it's a tough place. Tough place to handicap, but that means that you can get paid when you get it right.
Matt Dinnerman, the call. Here's the 7th.
Waiting for the first-time starter. Max got excited. We're ready to go. And Laroff. Papa Echo wins the start. Brodeur was away alertly, too. And here's Motel Patel. Motel Patel to the lead on a contentious pace here. There's a lineup there. Max got excited there with Brodeur. It's now Brodeur who's taking over. Max got excited to the outside pressing. And Motel Patel right off of them in a pocket to the inside third. Papa Echo being swarmed the joint fourth with Wise Decision 3 deep. El Prestigio is down at the rail. Another 2 lengths back to Gunrunner Charlie. Can Do Andrews sent along third last with We Need a Favor. Trigger Point actually second to last, and Saving Heart is well behind, detached about a 16th of a mile behind the rest of the field. So they round the far turn, a strung out group here being led by Brodeur, who has a head in front. Max got excited, sent along outside of him. Wise Decision in an all-out drive. Motel Patel tipping outside for the stretch drive. He's in with a good shot. They're down the lane. Brodeur has run a big race. El Prestigio coming on now. Max got excited, had to take up, went behind horses and weakening. El Prestigio rocketing to Brodeur. It's Brodeur on the outside. El Prestigio grandstand side. Brodeur and El Prestigio. El Prestigio, Brodeur head and head. And it is El Prestigio in the photo with Brodeur. Maybe Brodeur on the inside. Wouldn't let El Prestigio by, but it was tight.
Brodeur with the save potentially here. Did he get this one? 12-1 inside, your even money favorite, bearing down on him to the outside.
He was game, and he fought for it, Brodeur, improved speed in his second start. I think he came out and maybe brushed the 2 a little bit late, but I think he fought him off late. And honestly, the runner-up bothered the other horse that was backing up, the outside runner that showed speed when he came out to make room for himself. So,
look at the inside. Seemed like Matt kind of went for it with the calling the 2 on the outside, but then he kind of backed up a little bit off of that. To me, it was very, very close. Be curious to see. I thought it was the inside horse. That's what it felt like.
I'm more sure about the inside horse this race than I was the outside horse the last race.
Yeah.
Feels like it. We'll see momentarily. In a dead tight finish with Brodeur, second-time starter, and if it is the 2 El Prestigio getting beat, that would be 4 consecutive runner-up finishes for the Steve Asmussen runner, and it is 12-1 upset from the 9 Brodeur.
Were you a Marty Brodeur fan?
I was.
Very feisty goalie, right? He would chop guys with that big goalie stick in their crease. Like, it's my territory.
I'll give Isaac Castillo the save here. Holding this late surge off from the 2 with Brodeur. Start number 2. Mark Casse Barn with the win and an upset here in the 7th. We'll be back. Back with you on our Saturday edition of America's Day of the Races, brought to you in part by Naira Bets, where you can play it all. Go to nairabets.com, get signed up, and start it. Play along with us. Well, we just saw an upset, second-time starter, and a tight finish here. Brodeur out dueling the short-priced favorite, El Prestigio, for the victory, named after a 4-time Vezina Trophy winner. Pretty dominant in goal.
Yeah, Marty Brodeur was a generational kind of goalie, and Brodeur, the horse, improved greatly from his first start to his second start, and was able to hold off your favorite, El Prestigio, who came with a relentless rally under Eric Asmussen, but he was game, really game. Much like his namesake.
Yeah, Isaac Castillo for Marcassi, DJ Stable, and a son of Nyquist. I love that they keep the name in the hockey family here. $27.80 for the win.
Yeah, that is pretty cool. I didn't put that together. Nyquist, a hockey player as well, Brodeur. Hockey players love horse racing. And a bunch of the Islanders who play now,
in horse racing.
Yeah, I mean, you can go back with Wayne Gretzky and Golden Pheasant and those horses back in the 80s and 90s. I mean,
handcuff winner.
Yeah, I mean, I like when we get that crossover. I think it's good for the sport because other people see these other athletes getting involved or enjoying racing, and they go, hey, that might be cool. We should check that out.
8th race at Oakland, 6-furlong sprint, 50,000 starter allowance. I happened to be at a Kings game when they rolled out a present for the Great One, just for being part of the team. The whole stadium saw what was happening. Gretzky didn't realize, and they rolled a Rolls Royce out of the ice for him as a gift. Pretty cool.
That's a pretty nice gift, huh? Rolls Royce.
He deserved it.
He did. This race coming up, B-Sud. This is a serious racehorse. He's got huge figures. Is he just too good for this group?
Yeah, I mean, it feels like he is. They're betting him like he is. He's only 9-5 currently. I'd imagine he'll come down off that. But yeah, he does seem to have an edge tactically and final figure wise as well.
All right, this one's 17 minutes away. We'll have more on it when we come back. Starts the late pick 3 out in Hot Springs. We're going to take a timeout. Talk 3-year-old division. Who is the 3-year-old of the year? Fierceness, the Derby Jim Dandy Travers winner, the Classic winner, Sierra Leone, who finally had his big moment to end the year, or the Belmont Haskell winner, Dornick. We'll talk 3-year-olds when we come back.
The champion 2-year-old. One of 4 champion 2-year-olds in his immediate family. Essential quality at 2. Undefeated.
Essential quality, though, has opened up by 5.
Devastating. His own first 2-year-olds race in 2025. If they're anything like him and you've got a mare in foal, just imagine.
Horse racing? Check. Weekly promotions? Got 'em. Huge payouts? You bet. With Naira Bets. Download the app today and bet on any track, anywhere, anytime with live HD horse races, betting tips and tutorials, expert picks, and more. You bet with Naira Bets. Join now for a new member bonus at nairabets.com.
Breed to pure California speed as Legacy Ranch welcomes Forbidden Kingdom.
It's Forbidden Kingdom, dominant in the San Vicente.
This blazing fast son of American Pharaoh went wire to wire in every one of his victories.
What a performance from Forbidden Kingdom in the San Felipe.
Posting 3 Grade 2 wins on dirt and turf.
Forbidden Kingdom, resolute, turns away a big bit.
Breed to the speed of California speed. Forbidden Kingdom, now standing at Legacy Ranch.
Who's still a nose in front. Carew is lifting late as well. Better lucky than good at the rail. Better lucky than good. Carew, better lucky than good, wins the finale.
Welcome to Adelphi Racing Club's unparalleled partnership experience. Exclusive access to the backstretch at Belmont and Saratoga, premier accommodations on race day, and of course, experience excitement like no other. Contact us today to get a taste of the Adelphi difference.
Bobby and Pratt has always been a top rider in the country.
But since moving his tack to New York in 2022, he's taken his game to new levels. Nowhere was this more evident than this year's Saratoga meet. Although he didn't win the riding title, he still had a record-breaking summer. The 32-year-old set records for most stakes wins with 18, most graded stakes with 14, and 7 Grade 1 victories. With 16 total Grade 1 wins and over $35 million in earnings, can Flavien Prat wrap up his first Career Eclipse Award in 2024?
Historic year for Flavien Prat, and he will win his first Eclipse Award unless something absolutely bananas happens. 80 stakes wins, new record, and he's got a chance, tied right now with Jerry Bailey, 55 graded stakes wins, a chance to stand alone in that category. Later today out on the West Coast, if he can win the Grade 2 Los Al Futurity for Bob Baffert on Gaming, who's a 2-5 morning line favorite.
Yeah, big shot to do it today, and then he also has the opening of Santa Anita on December 26th. Then they run several graded stakes, the first couple days of that meeting, and I would be shocked if Flavien Prat was not your Eclipse Award winner this year. I would contest the results, and they probably storm the breakers.
I think we all sort of expected this. That's how good he is. When he made this move to the East Coast, that this was going to happen for him.
Well, this is what he, wanted to do, right? This was his plan. He could have stayed in California, had it on easy street, riding the best horses in small fields consistently every day. And he said, no, if I'm going to be great, I got to go take on the best. And the best are based on the East Coast now. I commend it. I love when people have a plan and have that appetite to become a champion. He's a champion.
And in coming into the backyard of the Ortiz brothers and the Joel Rosarios and the Johnny Velasquez's and the Manny Francos and being able to have the success that he had, I think it says a lot about the kind of rider that he is.
Yeah. And going to end that streak for Rat Ortiz Jr. is taking a lot of business away from some of these guys, too, from some of the top barns with how good he's been. Of course, he's been the pilot on Sierra Leone as well, who had his huge moment, turning the tables on Fierceness, who'd gotten the better of him in the Jim Dandy and the Travers by taking the Classic against older company. Does that make him the horse of this division here for 3-year-olds and the champion 3-year-olds?
I think it's very close between him and Fierceness. He did win the biggest race of the year, when they went head-to-head. But I thought, in some respects, Fierceness ran a better race in the Classic because he was the one that was part of that fierce pace early and was stuck around. I have no problem with either one. I think they're both deserving. If I was voting, I probably would vote for Fierceness.
Here's the tricky part, is that in this, what you just saw there with Sierra Leone beating Fierceness, that made it a very close race. If Fierceness would have won the Classic, it would have been an absolute slam dunk that he would have been 3-year-old champion. With that said, I lean Sierra Leone because I understand they have a lot of head-to-head situations, but and that race that mattered, that race that really mattered at the end of the year for all that money, Sierra Leone beat him.
Travers mattered quite a bit.
And I know that it matters too, but I'm saying, but then you can go back to the Derby, and then the Derby, Sierra Leone beat Fierceness. There's a lot of canceling out, and the one thing that's not necessarily cancelable is that Bridgestone Classic.
He was the most consistent 3-year-old, not just more consistent than Fierceness, the most consistent of anyone in the crop.
Well, yeah, I mean, you look at his resume, 7 starts, 3 wins, 2 seconds, 2 thirds. And I think he probably cost himself in a few of those races with his antics of trying to lug in. I think he ran the straightest he ever ran in the Breeders' Cup Classic. If Fierceness won the Breeders' Cup Classic, the question would be, who's horse of the year, Torpedo Anna or him? Because the one matchup that he had with Torpedo Anna, he won the Travers.
I think it would have been. It would have been horse of the year.
He might have been. Yeah. Well, let's talk Fierceness. 2-year-old champ. Such high expectations for him coming into his 3-year-old season, and a bit of a flop to start it off. Obviously, a no-show in the Derby, but then proved to a lot of people something he'd never done before, those back-to-back wins in the Jim Dandy and the Travers.
I think he put to bed the idea that he was a horse that needed everything his own way. I still think he's a more of a free-running type, and he wants to be in the clear. But his Breeders' Cup Classic, to attend that fast a pace and still stick around and fight for it, I think he showed he was a bit more than a one-trick pony, excuse the pun.
Well, sad news to report for a horse that was your Kentucky Derby winner from back in 2017. Passing of Always Dreaming as a 10-year-old happened back on December 10th. in Oklahoma. He'd been dealing with recent bout of colic and an issue with the muscular area of his large intestine. He has passed away. He previously stood at Windstar Farm. He was to be the first ever Kentucky Derby winner to stand in Oklahoma. But unfortunately, we lose our 2017 Kentucky Derby winner winning on that wet track.
One of the things I'll remember about this is that it was always weird to me that Johnny and Todd had both won derbies prior to this moment, not together. And this is when they finally got it together, right? Todd won with Calvin Burrell and Super Saver, and then Johnny won with Graham Motion and Animal Kingdom. And then everything was right in the world again when those two won together.
Yeah, it felt like that was the appropriate thing to happen, to team up to do it. And, you know, our condolences to Vinny Viola, Anthony Bonamo, the partners at West Point that were involved with the horse. He certainly took them on a really nice ride. And I remember seeing that winner's circle pandemonium when he won. And my son Joseph was actually in that phalanx of people, and I saw him. It was on TV. I was watching in the office at Belmont, and I actually got a little choked up. As a jockey, I never got there. I mean, I rode in the Derby, but never got there. So to see someone that you love there in that moment was really cool for me.
Picked a good moment to run the best race of his career in the Run for the Roses. Always Dreaming passes away again as a 10-year-old. We're going to take a timeout. We'll be back with more coming up. Features still ahead from Oakland. That was the Mistletoe. We're going to see last year's Black-Eyed Susan winner Taxed back in action. But first things first, talented sprinter and B-Sud now is the odds-on favorite. Stay with us. Back on our FS1 coverage to Hot Springs on this muddy surface here for the 8th. Coming up, $50,000 starter allowance, 6 furlong sprint. Talked about B-Sud. He has become the odds-on favorite. Just 2 for 22 lifetime, though, but he has some big numbers in fast races he can run. Here's Rabbit Hound from the inside.
It doesn't have a lot of early speed from that inside post. Going to end up eating a lot of dirt.
So here is B. Sut Francisco Arrieta aboard.
Not only is he faster than everybody else, he's consistently faster from a figure standpoint than everybody else.
Google joked this horse quick, and we'll take the blinkers off for the first time. His second start was pretty quick.
Yeah, second start was pretty quick. It's been kind of going the wrong direction since then.
Here's Ravenstown, 17-1.
I think he had some speed to the affair coming here from Hawthorne.
Northern Chill with some pace.
This is the alternative to me if you want to try to beat this favorite. This horse has speed. It's drawn outside of the favorite.
Mischievous M. Tom Vansbarn with Christian Torres.
More speed and get Christian Torres, so you usually know he allows them to use their speed.
Kontiki will move from turf back to dirt.
Yeah, this horse has some okay numbers, but just not with this type of group.
And Just Ask Watts. Another turf experiment. Last start did not go well.
Yeah, get him back to, I think, his preferred surface, and you get a 10-pound apprentice, so you're getting a big break in weights. This horse gets in with 108 pounds.
Now let's check in with Paulie B. Sud. Being bet like he's a standout. His form looks like he's a standout. Is it all about him here, Paulie?
You know, it's tough to it's tough for me, Greg, because when a horse is 2 for 22 lifetime and has been in this position before, I just don't know. Well, we'll show his last race, and it was good. If you look at Northern Chill, I'm in agreement kind of with Jonathan. Northern Chill didn't have the best starts in his last race, and he was able to press the pace. Now, B-Sud was able to outfinish him late in the race, and it just shows that I just don't know if this horse has got the nose for the winner's circle. Every time he hits the front end, he gets past. Every time he gets behind the 8 ball, he kind of comes running for second. Whenever he goes to the front end, he finally did get his one of his wins where he goes gate to wire. Now will he be able to go gate to wire with the 5 Northern Chill in here and the 6 Mischievous M, horses that are very, very fast. And I have a feeling Northern Chill might put a lot of pressure. This horse went 21 change. I get it. Did a lot of the dirty work. So, the 6 Mischievous M, that last race was good. Tommy Vance took the blinkers off, and I get it was a straight maiden 50, but I thought this horse really responded. And at the end of the race, I thought was able to go on with it, was never going to lose. Now, the 1-2 races on the sloppy racetrack have not been good, but you cannot deny this horse's speed. And I'll also say this, Tommy Vance had a horse run giant yesterday from the rail using that speed. He also has a first-time starter that ran really well too. So I think his horses are ready to go. So I would see the 6 running probably a bigger race than you kind of think. My outside horse in here is going to be the 3. Google joke for Tommy Medina. You go back and you look at, and Richie's got him right on top. This horse was behind Valentine Candy and chasing Valentine Candy. They've gelded the horse. They put blinkers on. This horse has benefited the most by the slop, and I think will benefit the most if they get in a tepid pace duel, which could very much happen. Now, I get it. I picked the 6 in here, trying to beat the 2. The more I look at it, I think the 2 could be vulnerable in here. I think the 3 could be dangerous late in this race, Greg.
Yeah, we agree. Obviously, Mig picked this horse. I mean, you like him quite a bit, but this horse, we talked about that second start. He ran a very fast race early in his career. Now the equipment changed and might get a real nice trip in here.
I mean, here's a horse that is getting the makeover, right, Greg? Coming back as a gelding, takes the blinkers off, does have that fast race, was 3rd in the Renaissance against Valentine Candy. He was on a mad tear last year there. I just thought that looking for an alternative, and somebody much smarter than me pointed out some of these changes. And listen, B-Sud, your big favorite. 22 starts, 2 wins, 4 seconds, 8 thirds or 9 thirds. I mean, they not exactly a winning profile, although he does run faster than everybody else from a figure standpoint.
Yeah, it just feels like one of those situations where if you look at, I guess last time when he was odds on, that was a little bit disappointing. The rest of them, he's not really running into these races as like this prohibitive favorite getting beat. Now, yeah, he's even money 2 starts back and got beat. I just think if he breaks well, finds his trip in here, I think he's just better than these. Even if you guys are right, the 3 takes a step forward or the 5 puts pressure, I still think he's probably good enough to win this race.
I was being bet like it, no question. But, often that doesn't tell the story. You could be 2 for 100, but if you're facing light years better competition, and you're facing a more realistic field, the record really doesn't matter.
I think it's fair. I mean, look, if you look at his buyer figures consistently compared to the rest of the field, he looks like a layup. But, you know, they got to run the races out there, not on paper.
I think starter allowance races can be some of the most lopsided, even more than like a grade 1 or a grade, because these horses they qualify for these races, the conditions of these races, having started for 50,000 or less, but they aren't the same horse anymore. B-Sud is not the same horse that once ran for that price.
Sure.
The rest of them, so it can become very lopsided, I feel like, in this category. Some of the most trusted horses, I think, in terms of big favorites, happen to be in these starter allowance types.
See if he can get the job done here at a short price. There he is stepping in with Francisco Arrieta, 4-5 favorite. We're set for the 8th. Let's go to Matt Dinnerman for the call.
Kontiki taking his spot as well. 2 back. Ravenstown. And to the outside, Just Ask Watts. Just Ask Watts going in. We're ready to go. And Leroff. Mischievous M gets the first call of the race. Ravenstown on the engine early. These two stride together. Mischievous M with a narrow lead on Ravenstown, who's down on the inside of him. Length and a half to Just Ask Watts, right off of them in the 3rd position, racing alone. Then Northern Chill, B-Sud the favorite inside of him. A gap of 2 to Google Joke. Kontiki, they're side by side, and the Gray Rabbit Hound has dropped to the rear. A contentious pace ensues, and they went 21-4 on the front end. Mischievous M into the turn, clearing off now. Ravenstown left back in second with 3 furlongs to go. Mischievous M gets to the fence, continues to pave the way. Now B-Sud, without being asked, threads the needle between horses. He's out of harm's way and comes after that front runner, the big favorite B-Sud at the quarter pole. Mischievous M has a quarter mile more to get. Here's the favorite. B-Sud alongside with every chance, and B-Sud on the grandstand side is taking a head lead from Mischievous M. Ravenstown behind in 3rd. The others are well behind. There's a furlong to go. It's B-Sud and Francisco Arrieta inching clear on the inside. Mischievous M is run tenaciously, but it's B-Sud with the upper edge, and he's just too good. B-Sud to score by a length and a half. Mischievous M was 2nd, Rabbit Hound 3rd, and Google Joke rounds out the superfecta.
There it is, just too good. 110-1, final time, even money favorite with the victory.
Yeah, it worked out a nice trip, too. He made that run up in between horses around the turn under Francisco Arrieta. He was best. Didn't it give you the impression, though, Jonathan, he's a little bit reluctant to leave his company? I mean, it was a nice effort from the 6 Mischievous M, but it looked like he was going to take him easily. And then it was almost like, okay, I'm here. I like being with the herd a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, he ranged up like he was going to run by him. You know, he might be a horse that, once upon a time, a great jockey taught me this, Richie. A horse, he might be better off on the front end. Just put him on the lead. That way he doesn't have to pass horses. He can just go out there and let himself roll and get comfortable and get brave.
Well, and also those kind of horses, if you rush them to the lead, they don't get rank with you. Because then they idle waiting on the competition. And when they get to him, they've already broken through that plane. So I think that could be maybe a key for him going forward.
B-Sud, too good for this group here in the 8th, gets his 3rd career victory. Pretty convincingly here, Francisco Arrieta for Don Von Hemel. And it's a short price favorite.
For the record, Wolfie, that great jockey was Meg who told me that.
I thought it might be him.
Tongue in cheek.
Coming up next, I'm going to take you just about 13 miles north of Buenos Aires for the Gran Premio Carlos Pellegrini, most important race run in South America. 20 will line up, and you can play it on Naira Bets as well. Stay with us.
Mandaloon wins.
It's America's original sport. And no one covers it better than americasbestracing.net. From the sport to the lifestyle, the best races, horses, and destination venues, cocktails, gambling, fashion, and more. americasbestracing.net is a sport for you.
Spun to Run. His brilliant speed figures were among the fastest of any 3-year-old at a mile or more, and he hails from the legendary Danzig sire line. Now, this multiple graded stakes winner, millionaire, and Breeders' Cup champion is passing his remarkable talent along to his progeny.
Night Beacon airs at the home of Spun to Run's Breeders' Cup victory.
Spun to Run, standing at Gainesway.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. RTN has packages that start at $5 per month.
Back at our Saturday coverage here on Fox Sports 1. Thanks for spending part of your weekend with us. Program brought to you in part by legendary Claiborne Farm. 100 years of doing the usual unusually well. We just saw a powerhouse performance from B. Sud. There he is. Picture time, winning this $50,000 starter allowance.
Yeah, he was the best horse. Worked out a good trip under Francisco Arrieta and gets it done.
One more look down the stretch.
Miss riding on days like this. You know, people pay a lot of money for mud packs, and you get one for free out there, Jonathan. You know, it's one of the benefits of being a rider.
Did you really enjoy it?
Heck no, it's work when you got to ride in the mud. The horses feel heavier. You're dealing with goggles, slippery reins.
Were there guys who loved it though?
I think George Velasquez loved to ride in the mud. It just seemed like he always excelled when it was muddy and when it was super hot. Other guys be wilted, and I don't think he ever broke a sweat.
Even money favorite B. Sud here in the 8th, 2-6-1. As we move on to the main events on the Saturday card at Oakland, the Mistletoe 2-turn mile, $150,000 purse, and tax showing up for trainer Randy Morse. Again, last year's Black-Eyed Susan winner. We saw her line up in the Alabama that summer as well. Her comeback race this year is a 4-year-old. I thought, JK, we were going to see really big things from her. She looked really good in that comeback effort.
Yeah, a lot of times horses that run in the Black-Eyed Susan, it feels like they're kind of coming from behind a little bit, right? Because if they were early, they would be running in the Kentucky Oaks, and so a lot of times they end up going on to have later, more progressive careers. And I thought Taxed the same way would just kind of maybe turn the corner. She ran into a pretty talented one in Too Sharp at Churchill in the Chaluki, but I think she's still got an opportunity to keep moving in that direction.
Corningstone taking a lot of money right with tax, though, as well for Kenny McPeak. Talk more about this field coming up in a moment. We're not even turned the page yet to next year, and we already have a win and you're in for next year's Breeders' Cup Turf. And in this Grand Premio from San Isidro in Argentina, we had a runner who had won this race last year show up and contest the turf, although didn't make much of an impact. El Encinal showed up and was part of the festivities as well. Wound up 13th in that race, but it's exciting to get an international flavor and help build that field coming up next year for the Breeders' Cup Turf. I like the international flavor for it.
Yeah, I mean, look, we call it the Breeders' Cup, but the actual name is the Breeders' Cup World Championships. And I think that if you don't have horses from all over the world, it's hard to say World Championships. And I love the fact that they've gone to all ends of the earth to find horses to try to get to come run in the Breeders' Cup. It makes it more interesting. It makes it more more of a, like you said, a world championship, and I love that they do that. So I'm always good with these win in your end spots. The horses that need to be in the Breeders' Cup races will always be there, and to have a spot like this for some international involvement.
In this race, we have a little international flair as well. We got runners from Brazil, Peru, Uruguay as well. And just to see a 20-horse field line up, we don't see that a lot.
Well, look right here. We've got 3 starting gates to house the 20-horse field, right? And it took them a long time. Churchill Downs finally got a 20-stall gate, so it was one, gate where they didn't have to put horses in an auxiliary gate. But this is pretty interesting here. How about the wide expanse of this turf course here? And people should remember that the horses that are 3-year-olds in this race, Southern Hemisphere horses are born later. A lot of them are born into August, September, even as late as October. So they're still young 3-year-olds.
And this is the first time, really, that 3-year-olds in this part of the world are meeting older horses. This race right here. Right now, the favorite, you see, it's the 20 El Cadigo, who is known as unquestionably the best older distance horse in Argentina, although has been a little bit better on dirt than on turf.
Yeah, that's interesting there. I think to equate it to American horses, though, it would be like 3-year-olds taking on the best older horses in about April of, the 3-year-old year. That's early for 3-year-olds to take on elders.
Where you would overwhelmingly give, the edge to the older horses.
Yeah. Although years ago there was a horse named Stagehand who actually won the Santa Anita Derby and the Santa Anita Handicap as a 3-year-old. He got in with 100 pounds in the Santa Anita Handicap, and the rider actually did the weight.
Incredible.
Could you imagine? 100 pounds.
We talked a little bit, about this race. We're thinking about how we're going to make picks. We don't follow the circuit by any means, and we're taking stabs, obviously, but we did a little research on Don Ferres, who is the 12 in here, who is a very classy horse. 9 wins from 13 starts for a world-class trainer as well in Argentina. We'll see if this one can make an impact. Right now, 15-1 on Don Ferres.
Yeah, you've been talking about this horse for 2 days, so this is a horse that you like quite a bit.
We'll see. Betting overwhelmingly, though, everyone going to El Cadigo.
Yeah, he's been productive, and he's the 4-year-old, so you have that edge as well. I thought the 13 Honest Boy was interesting, kind of a lightly raced horse who ran at a grade 1 last time, but is a 3-year-old, so up against it. But you're getting paid for that, right? 23-1 for the 13 Honest Boy.
Yeah, huge field like this, too. Traffic is going to play a part of it. It doesn't matter how wide open this turf course is.
No, absolutely. And honestly, I'm not completely sure about the configuration. It looks like the way this gate is lined up that they've got a pretty long straightaway to negotiate. So I'm sure they'll have plenty of time to kind of sort out their position.
Incredible history to this race. Been run since 1887. The biggest race there is in South America at an incredible race course at San Isidro Racecourse, part of the Jockey Club of Argentina. And privilege for us to be able to bring you some of these international races that hold so much prestige worldwide.
I think it's great. And honestly, looking at this and seeing the paddock and the racetrack, I would love to experience this live. There's so many good horsemen around the world, so many good horses, so many good jockeys. It'd be like a dream of mine to go there and kind of dig a sprout out of the ground and bring a rider to New York that you find there that people don't know about, and then just kill the world with them.
This race course, by the way, capacity for over 100,000 spectators.
And they love their racing there.
Yes, they do.
So many good horsemen have come out of there.
So it's really just 2 runners getting bet here at all. And we talked about El Cadigo taking all that attention. The other one, Cold Heart, who was at 9-2 on the board. But, we talk about the first time these 3-year-olds are facing elders. Honest Boy, he's a top 3-year-old who's going to be tackling these older horses as well. See if he can make an impact.
Yeah, I think it's really fascinating when you hit 3-year-olds stepping up this time of year for them. taking on Elders. And obviously the post position is not a concern with the betting public there, that the 20 El Codigo, is your favorite with that post.
For Honest Boy, this is just career start number 5. So a huge step up, huge ask here for this 3-year-old. But the far outside post on turf too, trying to break from post 20, where we talk about all the time trying to save ground.
Yeah,
work cut out for the favorite here.
And again, not being 100% sure of the configuration of the racetrack there, maybe it's not a concern because of that. They have a long run before they got to get to a turn.
Matthew Hill with the call. We are set for this Group 1 Gran Premio Carlos Pellegrini win, and you're in for next year's Breeders' Cup Turf at Del Mar.
The field just about ready to go as those outside barriers are about to be filled. In barrier number 1, Grezzo might be one of the pacemakers here. So the big field, what a spectacle it is here. It's one of the great spectacles in Argentinian racing, the big fields here at San Isidro. As going forward is Spring Break, who was caught wide here the other day going into 19. El Codigo coming along. And what a sight it is, the field set for the Gran Premio Carlos Pellegrini International. The field ready, stalls are back and away and racing, and Stevchuk and also Ready Knights both began pretty quickly, and over towards the inside Endeavour is showing a little bit of speed as well, and it's just going to tuck in behind that early speed, and also Grezzo is pushing up in the early strides as they settle down, and there's a clump of 3 or 4 going forward. El Provocador is also pushing up on the outside of Grezzo. So Grezzo and also El Provocador is next on the outside. They were followed about 3/4 of a length away in the field by Forrest Gump, who's tucked away behind those. El Codigo has got to about 7th or 8th in that early part of the race, and also Ascento Final has got through to sit 3rd on the outside of Forrest Gump. They were followed a length and a half away by Crazy Talent, who's in the top 6 or 7 as well. They were followed by Honest Boy out deeper on the track, and also Mozzo de Bar. So it's Grezzo the leader, and there's no speed here leading from El Provocador the outside, then Forrest Gump, Ascento Final, Mozzo de Bar. Crazy Talent behind those, and they were followed by Honest Boy. In between horses Endeavour, and there's out deeper on the track El Codigo, who is about 4 or 5 off the lead. About a length and a half away Don Ferres, Intense for Me. Then came back in the field as they run off the back section. They're halfway through. Spring Bake Jazz Seaver looking for a few towards the back. Ready Knights is a long way back in the field, and also Pepe Joy is out towards the rear as they come up towards the home corner, and the Brazilian runner Cold Heart's about 5th last on the inside. Coming around the turn at the 800, Grezzo is the leader, leading out from Ascento Final, and they were followed by around the outside. Running on here is Honest Boy. El Codigo still got about 3 lengths to pick up. Under pressure Forrest Gump, and then came Endeavour behind those, and right down the outside Intense for Me is starting to come on with a big run now. So as they reach the 350 metres, it's El Codigo and Intense for Me on the outside. Then came Don Ferres from a long way back too. 200 metres to go. It's El Codigo about 3/4 of a length in front. Intense for Me is trying to pick it up. El Codigo, Intense for Me. Don Ferres is still coming. It's going to be a big finish as they hit the line. It's a hit bobber. Intense for Me. Intense for Me has won it from El Codigo, and Don Ferres third in what was a magnificent finish, a grandstand finish to the Gran Premio Carlos Pellegrini International.
Intense for Me with the win. Don Ferres was making a late run, a little wide. El Codigo in the mix as well, but Intense for Me the victory in this win, and you're in for next year's Breeders' Cup Turf.
And this was brilliant. You got like 10 horses that could win with 200 meters to go, and the winner got a good trip. He ground down your favorite, El Codigo, but your horse ran on well. Had a lot to do.
Yeah, big effort from Don Ferres, but comes up just a little bit short. It's a 4-year-old who takes this year's edition of this Gran Premio Carlos Pellegrini. And hats off to your favorite here, El Cadigo, as well, from that outside post, wide trip all the way around to be right there. Somehow gets to the fence late.
Looked like a winner. They hit me with the old Kentucky Downs camera. I thought they were almost to the wire, and then there's a whole nother camera they switched to. Ran really well in here, though. Intense for me.
You know, the riders, this must be a popular rider there because everybody's congratulating him. I was never good with that, man. If I lost, I'd be happy for you next week. Right now, I'm not. Sorry.
Great finish. Favorite comes up just a little bit short. But tremendous to see with the history of this race, too. And horses coming in from all those different countries in South America, and to have that thrilling kind of finish, and the favorite coming up just short to intense for me. Don Ferres, valiant in defeat, but it's all about this 4-year-old. Your winner and punching a ticket. Will we see this horse go to Del Mar and the Breeders' Cup next year? We saw last year's winner try it.
It's funny. It's just such a long time away. You know, it's like you're used to these winning your ends being 5 weeks from now. Yeah, sure, we'll see, but it's a long time away from now. But
last year's winner, we didn't see race again until August. Was on the bench until August of this year. Resurfaced actually at Del Mar with the intentions of just going to that race, to the Breeders' Cup turf.
Yeah, but like Jonathan said, this is about 11, 10 and a half months till the Breeders' Cup. And how about this? You know, the pageantry involved and all these riders with flags and. I got to see that. I got to go there. I got to be a part of that one day.
That's pretty awesome.
Nicholas Martin Ferro, winning trainer. Martin Javier Valle aboard for the victory. In a thriller there in that Group 1. Carlos Pellegrini, as we get back to our main event at Oakland and Hot Springs. The Mistletoe. It's even money right now on tax, too. We'll get to in a moment. We'll start from the inside with Bow Draw.
Yeah, Bow Draw. Drawn towards the inside. Used to have some speed, but hasn't had much lately.
Tappet Janali was third in the fantasy behind Torpedo Anna earlier this year.
Second behind Lemon Muffin, and third off the layoff. Could be key.
15-1. This is the co-biggest price in the field at Wildwood Buy.
Yeah, another one doesn't have a lot of early speed, but does have a win on a race with listed as an off-track.
Stellar Lily, Ron Moquette, Rafael Bejarano.
Had a prep sprinting. She's probably the speed of the speed here, and trained by the mayor of Oakland Park, Ron Marquette.
2-1 on Corningstone. Next door, Kenny McPeak, Julian Leperoux. And this one's pretty battle-tested.
Absolutely. It has some numbers that definitely put this one in the mix.
Big scratch of the 6. It was a key player coming out. Here's your even money favorite, graded stakes winner, taxed for Randy Morse.
Yeah, I mean, Tax can absolutely win this race. Deserves to be the favorite because of her accomplishments, but just feels a little bit over bet. I think the 5 Corningstone makes a lot more sense at that price.
Yeah, short price, Paul, on Taxed, but does not appear to be a layup in here. And is it a question mark, too, with this off track?
Yeah, it could be a question mark. I was able to catch up with Randy Morse, and that was his one worry in the pace of the race. You know, he doesn't want to take her out of her style. You know, when she came back last year, she actually came back sprinting, and she rolled. Now, going long, I don't think he wants to be too far beyond the 8 ball in here, but, you know, she ran so well last year in a couple of her races, and, you know, in the Black Eyed Susan, obviously her best day, I mean, she ran well. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, she circled that field. She beat Tom Amos's filly at the time. So you go back and you look at it and you're wondering, okay, what was the company and has she stepped forward? But also, you know, what Jonathan said, she's run into Celia, Too Sharp, Adair Manor. She's run into some nice fillies and mares. So I think she's the horse to beat. Now, I don't know if she's gotten any better, but I do know that Randy Morse shook my hand with a smile, so I would think he's got his horse ready. Now, the 5, Corningstone for Kenny McPeak. I mean, his horse brings his lunch pail every time. I mean, it just seems like he doesn't have affinity for the winner's circle, but then you think, okay, 6 for 21, and it cause for pause a little bit that this horse was 1-5. He's an Indiana bred. He ran in an Indiana bred race last time out, a stakes race, and was off the board at 1-5. But you know what? Those Indiana breds can run too. So Corningstone, to me, is a horse that you could use. Now, I landed on the 2, Tapit Janali, because I do think the 4 is the speed, but the 2, I think, can lay close. Has gotten Lasix the last 2 times. You got back to her races, the beginning of her career of last year, she was back-to-back. She lost to a horse, Band of Gold. A lot of people know that the sire of that horse is Bar Gold, who was a monster on the slop. And this horse has 2 really good races over a sloppy racetrack. I just think Tapit Janelli can sit a very good trip in here, maybe right behind the 4. I don't think needs the lead to win, and maybe try to turn this into a 2-horse race. And we'll see if tax is tax. I'll just take my shot with the 2, Tapit Janelli.
All right, Paulie, thank you. 2 minutes away here from this Saturday feature, where the 6-5 favorite is taxed from that outside post. Christian Torres for Randy Morse. Meanwhile, Corningstone, well, talk about she's faced some very good company. This was back at Horseshoe Indy, and a 3rd place finish in a state-bred stakes race, the Cardinal.
Yeah, I mean, she loomed up and kind of flattened out, and that was a little bit of a concern for me,
Yeah,
Jonathan.
1-5.
Yeah, I mean, what did you think? It looked like she had her chance.
Yeah, I mean, it's not ideal. It's definitely not ideal, but I can dismiss that race because I felt like the other races in her recent form make a lot more sense. I mean, some big prices were involved in that situation. I think I'll forgive her for that run.
I find one thing interesting about Corningstone. She doesn't compete with Lasix here. I think she has better races when she doesn't compete on Lasix. And, we talk so much about Lasix and how some horses respond so positively to it. There are a certain percentage of horses that react negatively to Lasix. And not that she hasn't run good races with Lasix. I feel like she's run better races without it. She doesn't have it today.
2-1 right now. Le Peru for McPeak. Post time coming up. Tax, been a very cool story for Randy Morse. Great to see this trainer. It's been around for a long, long time. Get a filly of her ability.
Yeah, I mean, a guy it's been doing it for a long time, consistent, and you like to see hard-working horse people rewarded. And having a horse like this is a stable star for them.
Well, yeah, well, you can hear them say it. They wake up every morning. And go and train what they got and always hope to look down their shed row and see something special in there. And there's the Bob Bafferts, the Todd Pletchers, the Chad Browns, the Brad Coxes of the world. They do that every day. They wake up and they see something special down their shed row. And so for some of the smaller operations, when they get a chance to have a good one, it is fun to watch. It's fun to watch them, with the excitement that comes with that, because it's not something that they experience every day when they wake up.
And how do you feel about Tax? Is she her best races, her top races, maybe a little bit behind her, or she still have some very good ones in her?
I think she's got to show that they're not behind her, right? Her last 3 starts were all, they were okay. They weren't what she did, earlier, particularly, going back to like the Fleur de Lis, really nice effort there. And obviously the Black-Eyed Susan as a younger 3-year-old.
I mean, outside of her maiden race, if you look at her past performances, she's running a lot of stakes, but she's only won 1, Black-Eyed Susan. She was 11-1 that day. And then her other 2 starts have been wins have been in allowance races. So, but you'll see this often, whether it be the 3-year-old colts or the fillies. When you win one of those spring 3-year-old races, for the rest of your career, you're overbet. Because people are paying attention, and you win the Black-Eyed Susan the night before the Preakness, people are going to remember your name, and you're going to take money in spots you show up in, probably even if you shouldn't. And I feel like she might be one of those types. It's just possibly a little bit overbet.
6-5 favorite here from this outside post, trying to get her first win on a wet surface coming up. Certainly the credentials, though, to be probably the favorite of this spot, but she's got a real rival in Corningstone, Stellar Lily, with ability as well. And even I felt like Tapit Janelli going back. I know those last 2 starts were not great, and it's hard to overlook that, getting beat at 4-5 last time out. But she had ability. See if she can get back to some of her better races too. See what happens here in this edition of the Mistletoe. Tax, the one to beat from the outside post for trainer Randy Morse. Matt Dinnerman with the call.
Corningstone, second to last. Into the outside, it's Taxed. Tax coming up, go again. We're ready to go in the Mistletoe Stakes. And they're off. Stellar Lily clipped heels right at the start and drops to the back of the field after that. Corningstone on the lead today with Tax. Now Stellar Lily, after the bad beginning, has made up ground, is caught about 4 wide going into the first turn run. Beaudraw hugs the rail and kicks on, but Stellar Lily aggressive. There goes Stellar Lily and Rafael Bejarano to the lead. Now Bejarano is trying to wrestle down Stellar Lily, who has the lead. Had to use some energy to get there, but she's in charge a length and a half. Beaudraw second, Taxed alongside of her, and Corningstone between that pair. A gap of 2.5 to Tappa Janali, and another length and a half to Wildwood By as they head down the backstretch. It's Stellar Lily went the opening quarter in 23 and 2/5 seconds. Stellar Lily on top a half length. Taxed on the outside, the favorite perched right up on that leader as they hit the half-mile pole. Then comes Beaudraw on the inside. Corningstone patiently ridden 2 behind. Level with Beaudraw going into the forward turn run. A length and a half to Tappa Janali and Wildwood By as they go into that turn. Here's Tax right up alongside of Stellar Lily, who's come under a ride now, and Tax breezes to the front. Stellar Lily giving way. She's done. Taxed on the lead. Corningstone is making a nice run on the outside of Tax. They're even now coming to the top of the lane. This race will end at the 16th pole. Corningstone outside comes looking for the lead. Taxed is attempting to keep up, but Corningstone has a lot left, it appears, and breezes to the front. In second is Taxed, then Tappa Janali, Beaudraw, 16th to go, and Corningstone is waving goodbye to the competition. Corningstone kissing this field goodbye in the Mistletoe Stakes, wins by 3.5. Taxed second, Beaudraw third, Tappa Janali fourth.
Corningstone, impressive in victory here for Kenny McPeak with Julian Leperoux. And looked like it might develop into a battle with Tax. She puts that one away.
Yeah, I mean, she just got a sweet run. She broke well, got good position. The 4-horse, Stellar Lily, stumbled after catching heels a couple strides out of the gate. She was the speed, then she ran off, and it kind of spread the field out and gave the winner, Corningstone, a nice trip, Jonathan.
Yeah, and she, look, at the half-mile pole, it was a foregone conclusion. It was about how far Corningstone had just kind of pulled herself into that spot to look Tax right in the eyes. Tax was already being asked and encouraged, and Corningstone just kind of cruised up, and it was just a matter of how far at that point.
Greg, nice to see those colors, too, of Virginia Craft Payson, the late Virginia Craft Payson. Now it's Payson Stud getting it done. They were such iconic silks here for so many years, through the 80s and to the 90s. So many good horses campaigned by them. And Corningstone, nice ride, too. Julie Leperoux, always in the right spot.
2-1 in the end. Rolling by the former Black-Eyed Susan winner Tax for the victory. Kenny McPeak, who very likely has your horse of the year, who is a filly, which we don't see happen a lot. And Torpedo Anna will wait and hear that announcement at the Eclipse Awards, but seems like it may be the case. Kenny McPeak with the 4-year-old filly, who continues to produce her 7th career win. Let's go to Paul.
I'm with assistant trainer here, Ray Briner, who does all the dirty work here. Campaign Torpedo Anna and Mystic Dan. Corningstone, giant race today.
Yeah, she rose to the occasion. I think she's always showed she liked an off-race track. She's had a little break. She runs well fresh. I think it was a perfect scenario.
Were you a little surprised that she broke sharp and kind of went towards the front end and kind of laid back a little bit?
No, I think this is her key race. It's when she runs this race, she's hard to beat.
Okay, I want to ask you a couple questions. How's the big girl doing?
From what I hear from the farm, she's doing great. Her last couple weeks of her rest, and she'll be back in action.
And Mystic Dan?
He breezed very well this morning at the fairgrounds. He's going to get on the truck going to California for the Malibu, and all systems go.
Good luck, Ray.
Thanks.
That's your Kentucky Derby and Oaks winners that Paul LaDuca was asking about, Mystic Dan and Torpedo Anna from the same barn of Kenny McPeak. And circle that date right here at this racetrack next year. Apple Blossom in April, and that is to be an expected date for Torpedo Anna.
it's great that we had all of these good 3-year-olds coming back at 4. For us covering it, obviously, but also as fans, we like to see these horses compete and settle these arguments on the track.
I know we've been talking so much about the battle for the 3-year-old of the year. And Mr. Dan comes back, wins the Malibu. Is he one of your contenders now?
No. But it's a great thought. No, Dornick and Sierra Leone and Fierce just have that locked up on the top. But no, it'd be a cool accomplishment, though, winning the Derby and then going on to win the Malibu.
Day after Christmas.
Yeah, it would be pretty cool, wouldn't it? Spectacular Bid did that.
What was he, 18-1 in the Kentucky Derby? Mystic Dan?
Yeah, he was a big price. What a ride Brian Hernandez gave
Incredible ride
that
from
day.
Brian Hernandez Jr. We're taking time out. We'll be back. We'll have prices from this race when we return. It's Corningstone in the Mistletoe. We still have more to come. Nightcap next. Stay with us. Back with you on our Saturday coverage on Fox Sports 1. You're watching America's Day at the Races. Little cruise through Manhattan. Play all the action we bring you with Now Bets. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. Including in the nightcap we still have ahead at Oakland. Just saw a big one. Winning, you're in for the Breeders' Cup turf for next year. And it's intense for me, 14-1 upset in this Gran Premio Carlos Pellegrini, and had been beat by the favorite El Cadigo in each of the last 2 starts. Turns the tables this time around.
No, got a really good trip. You want to talk about a pumped-up rider. I'm seeing like all kinds of emotion running on there, Jonathan.
Veins are popping out of his forehead. He's hype.
Your wife would not let you do that in your riding day, would she?
Did not like the celebration after the wire. Keep the horse balanced. They ran hard for you. They're tired.
This shows you what this race, though, means to these connections. I mean, this is the biggest race, as we talked about, in South America, and it's on full display.
Yeah, no doubt. And listen, I showed emotion too, and when I won the Breeders' Cup in Desert Coat, I started a fist pump, and I went, whoa, wait a second. Take care of the horse.
So, yeah, El Conago had beat Intense for Me each of the last 2 starts this time. Intense for Me able to turn the tables, this 4-year-old, with a 14-1 upset. Don Ferris completes the trifecta. But it's a big price in our first time here showing this prestigious Group 1 event. And we'll see if it's on to next year's Breeders' Cup, obviously a long time away for Intense for Me. We're going to take a time out. We'll be back, look at the 2 stakes in the New York Stallion Series. Great White Way and Fifth Avenue happened earlier in today's action when we return.
They come on for the finish in the Pilgrim Stakes. Annapolis by a head.
It is Annapolis in front. It is Annapolis to win the Coolmore Turf Mile.
Horse racing? Check. Weekly promotions? Got 'em. Huge payouts? You bet. With Naira Bets. Download the app today and bet on any track, anywhere, anytime with live HD horse races, betting tips and tutorials, expert picks, and more. You bet with Naira Bets. Join now for a new member bonus at NairaBets.com.
Grayson Jockey Club Research Foundation was formed in 1940 with a simple goal: to raise funds for research to enhance the health and soundness of horses. Since then, we've provided millions of dollars to hundreds of projects at universities around the world, leading to major advances in welfare. Our process of selecting and producing peer-reviewed research has become the trusted industry standard. And with your help, we'll be here for many years to come, supporting the health and wellness of all horses.
Nobody has had a more breakout year than Dylan Davis. Before December even started, he had surpassed his yearly best tally in wins, graded stakes wins, and earnings. The Saratoga native more than doubled his highest number of wins in a single season at the Spa with 36, good for third in the standings. He picked up his second and third meet titles of his career, capturing the Aqueduct Winter and Belmont at the Big A Fall Meet. He will move his tack to Florida for the winter starting January 1st. Can Dylan Davis continue this momentum into 2025?
Look, there was no question the story at Saratoga this summer was Flavien Prat and the record-breaking summer he had, but not far behind was the strides Dylan Davis made.
Absolutely. Dylan has just become so much more consistent, so much more confident, and it's just a maturity level that has happened, naturally. I think Dylan has always had the talent. It was his consistency sometimes that would frustrate me, but I could see in his preparation and his approach to things, he's reached another level.
Yeah, and the good part about it for me is the way that he did it this summer is he earned it on horses that weren't short prices. Mm-hmm. He was overachieving. He was overachieving with the mounts that he had, and I think that went a long way for him. And in my opinion, it wasn't just a summer that's going to help him along right now. To me, it's a summer that changes the trajectory of his career. Agreed. That it's the type of summer that leads him to getting grade 1 type mounts on a consistent basis, not just while he's hot. I think it changed.
We've seen him growing and making these strides, but then it was just all on display.
Yeah,
Saratoga this summer. Now, as a result of that, we're going to see him go out of town and chase big mounts to be in these big races?
You know, there's two approaches to it, right? You know, you stay in New York, you're home, purses are great. Where the daily races at Gulfstream aren't as good, the stakes obviously, and that's why you go down there to follow the good horses, to potentially set yourself up to get a good 3-year-old. And he does have the support of people like Mark Casse and several other trainers that he's made inroads into. But you can also do that by staying in New York and flying down as need be. That was the way I was most comfortable. I didn't like spending winters down there, although I did a few times. I think that Dylan, what you said, though, Jonathan, what defined his summer, his kind of breakout year, was winning on horses that weren't necessarily horses that you thought were going to win. And that's how a rider makes his reputation. Not winning on the ones you're supposed to win on, finding ways to win on the ones that, you know, are less fancied.
And made the difference with his rides with so many horses. I mean, the Queen's MG opening day, 44-1 in the Schuylerville. That was the start, and it never really stopped. Exciting times for him.
And the race, to me, that really defined his breakout season was on a claiming horse called Jackson Heights. The rail was gold that day, and he's on a deep closer. Those horses are up against it in those situations. He went to the rail and got through on the entire field. So first, recognizing the bias, and then saying, this is what I need to do to win. It's hard to have that kind of discipline.
Tremendous to watch. It was so much fun this summer. We wish him all the best. He'll head to Florida pretty soon. Earlier on today's card in New York Stallion Series. For the boys, the Great White Way, and Sacrosanct had to battle for it, but remains perfect. 3rd stakes win in a row now.
He took all the heat, took it to Bold Fact, and held off the runner-up with a very game performance. I will say, I think he got a little bit lucky that the 10-horse got stymied in traffic there, but this was a very game and gritty, determined performance.
Absolutely, and you got to give bonus points here for being able to put away the other speed in here and be able to hold on and hold off the oncomers. I thought this was actually not the biggest, most impressive on paper performance of Sacrosanct, but in my opinion, it was his best performance.
4 for 4 now for trainer Brad Cox. Lady Sheila's stable. We've had some really good ones. We were talking about off air, of course, the standout, La Verdad, the champion.
Yep. Yeah. Just somebody that has gotten into the breeding end of the game and has done extremely well. And this was a really game performance. That's the one thing you can never find out about a horse until they're put in that situation. Do they have that kind of fight in them?
And Sacrosanct certainly proved it. This time out has never really had to do that because he's won for the most part so easily, at least his first couple of starts. So Sacrosanct now 4 for 4, taking that Great White Way. For those silks, Lady Sheila's stable. Meanwhile, 2-year-old fillies in the 5th Avenue of this New York Stallion Series. Boston's Finest went off your favorite, but Stone Smuggler got a cozy outside post and now has won 2 of her last 3 starts.
Yeah, did have a cozy outside post, Wolfie, but I don't think it was a perfect trip. Just better than I think some of the other horses worked out in here. Was wide all the way around there, but was much the best in here. And I think that's what's great about an outside post. If you're much the best and you draw outside, Mig, it doesn't matter if you lose a little bit of ground.
Well, that's it. It's the lesser of two evils, right? You don't have to negotiate traffic. You don't have to deal with kickback. And the fact that she has natural speed, it allowed her to settle just off of a contested pace.
Jose Lezcano on board for the victory for Jorge Abreu and New York Final Furlong Racing Stable, who, well, can they see into the future? Said they bought this one with the intention of winning this race at the end of her 2-year-old campaign.
Yeah, I mean, that's a lot of insight, seeing something way out in front, but that's something that people should think about when you're looking at racing or buying or breeding New York breds. If you're buying New York Stallion, a stallion that stands in New York, you're eligible for the Stallion Stakes. You can be a New York bred, but if you're from an out-of-state stallion, you're not eligible for these races. So they're going to Honest Mischief, who also was the sire of Sacrosanct, who won the other division. This was a big day for him as a sire and for a horse that stands in New York.
Anyone sired by New York Stallion is going to have their eyes on this day in these 2 races because of how much money's on the line.
$500,000 purse. I mean, if you're not thinking that far ahead, you're playing checkers when everybody else is playing chess then. you've got to be able to take advantage of these things that the New York breeding program provides.
Impressive from both those two in those races. And they could have, look, we'll see if they eventually tackle Open Company. It seems like they both have ability to do it.
Yeah, they both have been running, right in those little areas, those numbers that you want. But, like we talked about, you just take your time. Enjoy where you're at. Take advantage of the advantage that you have by being a New York bred, and work your way through. The horse will take you to Open Company because they'll run so fast and so well, you'll have no other choice.
I'm also a great believer in the horses only have so many A efforts. Your better horses have more A efforts than your average horses. A trainer doing their job well wins races with B and C efforts before they've got to go deep into themselves to bring that A effort. And having the ability to go through your New York bred conditions, New York bred stakes before taking on Open Company allows you to develop into that.
We're going to take a timeout. We'll return. Still have the nightcap ahead from Hot Springs out in Oakland. Going to close things out with an entry-level allowance 6 furlong sprint to come. Gun Flash favored from an outside post, looking to go back-to-back, but looking for the first win ever at Oakland. Back with you on America's Day of the Races here on Fox Sports 1. Nightcap to come from Hot Springs here. And a first-level allowance race, 6 furlong sprint. We'll close it out. We'll start with the one here, Mumayas from the inside, Ron Moquette.
I think this horse is very interesting from a pace standpoint. I don't think the horse can win, though.
WW Scouts honor this horse a huge performance at Oakland back in February. It was just 4 starts ago.
Yeah, and a horse that has run well on off racetracks, too.
Matt Shire trains the 3 coming off a win.
This horse ran huge switching to Matt Shire's barn.
Gold sweep. Team Asmussen. Father Steve with son Keith aboard.
So much promise early as a 2-year-old. Broke his maiden at Tremont by 9 lengths. Never really followed through with that promise.
Here's Manta Ray at 26-1.
Yeah, just has a couple of races, but a lot more races that aren't fast enough.
It comes in from Hawthorne. Drew Mania came in off a lengthy layoff here, and a good effort forward, wound up second on a muddy track at Delta.
Yeah, this is considerably tougher, though.
Speedy Tachero.
Yeah, another pace presence in here, which leads me to my choice is going to be a closer.
Juilliard, major contender, but off since the meet last spring in May.
That's mine. I think that I'm going to watch this, Mick. I think Juilliard is going to dance all over this field.
Well done, Jake. And then Gunflash coming off a win at Remington last start.
Yeah, and a good outside draw for a horse that has tactical speed but is versatile.
A 6-time winner, pretty consistent runner on the outside right now. Paulie, who is a mild 7-2 favorite with Gunflash.
Yeah, he is. And a horse that, you know, if you look back at his PPs, you know, you mentioned, Greg, that he's never won here at Oakland, but his last race was good. And, you know, the race before that, he ran into Jackson Traveler. We know how good that horse is. He'd be 1-5 in this spot. But this was his last race at Remington Park. He beat General Shipman that day. General Shipman has come back to win since then. I do think he gets a cozy outside post. He's a horse that has shown that he can come from off the pace. Got that race at Evangeline Downs over a sloppy racetrack. So I don't think that's going to be an issue. And then Harry Hernandez, too, as well. Very patient young rider that I like an awful lot. I just think he was very game in this effort, and I think he's going to run a big race today. Now, the 3, as good as I once was, rest in peace, Toby Keith. We love you and we miss you. You know, this is a horse that he claimed Matt Shire from Michael Warpool, and I don't know. The blinkers went back on, and this horse just freaked. I mean, when you go from your lifetime top of 83, and before that had been running 28s, 39s, 60s, and boom, a 95. But I don't know what to do with this race. 21-44, and the denotation in the form was it was a slow pace. Were they running on the Belt Parkway with no traffic? I mean, I just don't know what to do. And then the 9, Juilliard. I'm with you, Jonathan. That's the horse from off the pace. I'm going to land on the 10, but I do think the 9 is a horse that's going to be running from off the pace. And I know, Jonathan, you've tapped your shoes at the Dancing Hall of Fame in Saratoga.
Now, I've been a lot of places in Saratoga, but I haven't been there yet. If I go, I got to go with Acacia so she can, like, tell me what I'm actually looking at.
You're out here now. We got to go see Misty Copeland together.
Okay. Whatever you say.
I'm in for that. 3-1 favorite right now, though. Gunflash outside. Can that form from a softer circuit translate here?
It's a good outside draw, right, for a horse that can kind of make their own trip. And I agree with Paul. Harry Hernandez is a terrific rider. Last year I remember watching him close at Oakland, and I thought, man, this guy puts his horses in good spots.
Well, I feel like there's speed outside, inside, and in the middle, which is why I think this thing's going to speed up and set up nicely for the 9.
See if Juilliard can take advantage off the bench. Early May, this meet earlier this year, last time we saw that one. Matt Dinnerman, nightcap from Oakland.
We're ready to go. And we're off. Todd Chero wins the start. A little bit quicker is WW Scout's Honor, who shoots to the front. From Todd Chero, who takes a hold and will track from second. Mumayaz is third in the early stages. Drew Mania finds himself between horses. Juilliard is 3 deep. Then comes Good As I Once Was. Gunflash is third last early on the outside. Gold Sweep is second to last. And Manta Ray is at the back of affairs, at least 12 lengths from first to last. They go into the far turn, and the leader is WW Scout's Honor. A length in front, Todd Chero in the second spot. Romania, Mumayaz are side by side as they round the far turn. There's a gap of 2 lengths to Good As I Once Was, who's on the move on the fence. Juilliard being asked for more. Gold Sweep, 8 or 9 lengths behind, not picking up the pace with Gunflash, who has a lot of work to do if he wants to win it. Top of the lane, WW Scout's Honor turns for home in the big white blaze. He's in front. In second is Todd Chero. Outside, producing a bid, Drew Mania from out of it. And then comes Good As I Once Was up the rail. Gunflash grandstand side picking off foes, but has 4 lengths to gain. 16th to go. WW Scout's Honor just keeps going. And it's a big effort from WW Scout's Honor to score under Travis Wales. Gunflash second best, then Todd Chero, and Good As I Once Was in the finale.
flying late. Made things a little interesting. Wow, that 10 was coming on. WW Scouts Honor, though, with the victory, I believe 9-2.
So really good speed. This horse is now 3 wins from 5 tries on off racetracks with the second. It's a really nice effort. And I like when riders allow horses to show speed. And they got like a loop in their reins and just letting them free run like that. That was a real nice effort. But how about Gunflash, man? When he found his stride, he came motoring down the middle of the track.
He sure did, and I thought he was going to be a lot closer in the first place. When I looked up early in the race, he was behind the 9. It felt like that wasn't exactly where he wanted to be. He came running for sure. You got to give him another shot next time that he shows up.
Travis Wells for Scott Becker, 6-year-old. Wins for the 10th time, 27 starts now, first win at Oakland.
Yeah, and Scott Becker winning at a nice percentage this year and gets this one done. And Travis Wells, I like when riders ride speed horses using their speed.
WW Scouts Honor, double digits now on the resume in the win column, taking the nightcap.
City of Light, multiple Grade 1 winner, who posted 7 triple-digit buyers, stands to continue the legacy of his sire, Quality Road, with graded stakes winners, Menti, Chop Chop, and Formidable Man, sire of multiple Grade 1 winner and champion 2-year-old Fierceness.
A powerhouse win.
City of Light, a proven sire in the making, standing at Lane's End Farm.
These New York bred foals represent many sires. War Dancer, Salamini, Honest Mischief, Central Banker. But they all have one thing in common. Starting in 2026, they'll be running for the same purse money as Open Company 2-year-olds at Naira tracks. That's nearly 20% more than they run for now. Learn more about it at nybreds.com.
Down, get in, 350. Here we go. 3 here, 50, down 4, 8.5, in the back. 1,400,000 stands way in the back. Thank you.
1,000,005, and I'm $1,006,000, $150,000, $1,550,000 and a half. $1,500,000. Jody, thank you.
Please hold your applause.
Charlatan, ultra impressive.
It's a new day for a new king.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. RTN has packages that start at $5 per month.
I love this stallion barn because this is where we house all of our stallions. And it's a favorite amongst everyone that comes on tour because they get to meet and greet some of their favorite horses that they saw race or are fans of their progeny. So this is Midnight Lou. So these boys are always expecting a mint. Yes, they know when we're coming, don't ya? On these tours. Of course, Loggins is our newest stallion. So son of Ghost Zapper. Yes, I know. Very handsome, very youthful looking. I like to come when the stallions are coming in from their paddocks. So I get to see them all parade in, and Violence comes in every day, very proud. So I enjoy watching them come in and go into their different stalls, and that happens around noon each day. Violence, I would say, stands the proudest, looks the tallest, even though he's not. If you wanted to draw a picture-perfect stallion, this is what you draw a picture of. He's a beautiful stallion. A little bit aggressive. Clean your mouth out, charlatan. You're messy. This is Charlatan. They call him Charlie in the barn. That's his nickname. So, fun fact about him. Full of personality.
And here is the horse of the year,
Go Sapper!
Of course, he's the legend of the barn. He's 24 years old. We had no intention of moving our stallion division here when we first purchased Alapa. And when the decision was made to move the whole operation here, we had 6 months to be out of the Lexington facility. So we had to construct that breeding shed and get all of these paddocks up so that we were ready for breeding season for our stallions. So I would say that Good Magic is probably the kindest, gentlest stallion in the barn. We're really proud of Good Magic and excited about his future. Of course, he had Mage win the Kentucky Derby in his first crop. We look forward to everything that's coming up from this guy. Curlin! Here, buddy. Hi, handsome. So here's Curlin. Consider him the king of the barn. Hi. It's great for me to do tours because when I do give a tour, the fans are so blown away and they just say wow constantly that it's a good reminder for me every day to appreciate it.
Program brought to you in part by Hillendale at Alapa. There's gorgeous grounds and a pretty incredible lineup as well with that stallion roster. Nightcap in the books at Oakland, and it's WW Scout's honor with the victory for the Scott Becker barn. Good for him. Yeah, 10 career wins now from the 6-year-old.
Real nice effort. Obviously likes an off-going, good speed, and speed's a good thing to have, particularly on off racetracks.
Absolutely, and in a race that had a lot of speed in it. You love to see that. Love to see an aggressive ride, a forwardly placed horse. Because you take a horse like this and you rate him in behind a bunch of speed, you end up with the same result if you go too fast. So you might as well use what his weapon is. Yep. And that's what they did.
First career win here in Hot Springs. Wins third off the bench. And obviously appreciating this off track. He's done a lot of his best work on tracks with some moisture in it.
Yeah, and showed good speed from that inside. And Travis Wales rode him 2 back to a big effort, a win there at FanDuel. And now right back and a little celebrating after the wire. But I forgive him. It's a $130,000 pot.
Just the purses in Hot Springs. Incredible.
Oof, really something else. And he gets it done. Gunflash came with that big run.
And we talk about it for this race, too. I mean, we see some of these huge purses for the Arkansas bred running program, even in maiden races.
Yeah, maiden races, and then they got a nice stakes program for the Arkansas breds as well. And I still can't get over the feature about Alapa. I want to call Mr. Sakura and ask him if I could just be a groom there. I swear.
It's like heaven on earth, isn't it?
Oh, God, what an absolutely beautiful, and you could see the history just oozes to the pores of the place. Yeah, I would be a groom there if they let me live there.
Could think of a lot worse things to do. Great day for the New York breeding program with these stakes that we saw this afternoon for horses by New York sires. And we had one yesterday, a New York bred who had a little interesting hiccup in the stretch. It could have been a very scary situation. Romero Mirage and Mama's Gold, back-to-back huge performances now for that New York bred, and it sounds like that one may be tackling open company in the very near future.
You talk about a horse that speed is his weapon, and they allow him to use his speed, and he keeps finding. And even though he lost his focus and he spotted that patch on the racetrack, for a rider it's so hard because everything in you, in the stretch is to go forward. Your body, all your momentum, your arms, your push is forward, and all of a sudden that horse does that, and it breaks the momentum. You keep going forward, and the horse is going that way.
His left leg, Romero Mirage, came completely over to the other side. Down the stretch on this horse.
Remarkable recovery that even got back in the middle of him. Fear is a great motivator.
Let's go back to the feature at Oakland. It was the Mistletoe. We saw Tax line up in this one, take all the money, but it was Corningstone delivering for trainer Kenny McPeak with Julian Leperoux.
Yeah, real nice trip. He got the first run on the favorite Tax and that short wire, but this was a good version of Corningstone.
No, absolutely, and it had a couple of not great performances mixed in there, but when she runs like this, she's very good. And she pulled herself into this race and ran by Tax like Tax was tied to the quarter pole. I thought she ran extremely well today.
you talked about it a little bit leading up to the race. Tax, the race she'd won, going to get overbet a little bit. I mean, looking back, Corningstone, look, just a couple starts back was graded stakes place against older company.
Yeah, and honestly, it just doesn't feel like Tax is quite as good as she once was. You know, horses, equine athletes like human athletes, lose a step along the way. You're never quite as good as you once were.
And, but in fairness, too, the other side of the coin is that, and I don't mean this at all to be disparaging, but maybe she just wasn't ever really that good. She overachieved that one day, and then she kind of came back to who she is. And this is just like who she is. With the right situation and the right setup with the right group, she can win, which is what she did in the Black-Eyed Susan. But like we pointed out, her other 2 wins after that came in allowance races. So, but when you have a horse that wins the Black-Eyed Susan, sometimes it's hard to find allowance races that you qualify for. So you have to run in these stakes.
And we nitpick a little. She's still pretty good. I mean, she's won a lot of money. She's not maybe elite level.
I'd love to own her.
Yeah.
I'd love to train her.
I think everybody would.
No doubt. I mean, and honestly, when we talk about these horses and we make some of these comparisons, we're not trying to disparage one horse over another. We're just kind of laying it out there the way we see it.
And it's also like this is a game in which there is winners and losers.
Sure.
And there's people wagering. And so sometimes, you got to take a stand against a four-legged animal that you'd, like you said, you'd love to own, but just maybe not the right time to bet them.
And credit Randy Morse, too. He's done a very good job training this one over the last few years. It was a privilege to bring you this one. Group 1, most important race run out in South America. Gran Premio Carlos Pellegrini, El Código. Huge favorite is the one to beat. Had beat Intense for Me the last 2 times they had lined up. But Intense for Me at 14-1, able to turn the tables on the big stage.
This was a terrific horse race. I mean, 20-horse field. Any one of 10 or 12 looked like they could win with 200 meters to run. And notice how I'm saying meters and not furlongs, because that's how they do it there. And I'm going to go when in Rome, right? I didn't notice when we were watching it live, guys, the amount of dust coming off that turf course. A very firm turf course, which might bode well for a horse going to the Breeders' Cup at Del Mar, and this was a win and you're in, because you're going to get a firm turf course at Del Mar 90% of the time, or 99% of the time.
Again, we saw last year's winner take some time off, return in August at Del Mar to run on this year's Breeders' Cup turf. We'll see what the plan is for Intense for Me. But I'd love to see a little international flavor in this one, punch in that ticket should they choose to go to the 2025 Breeders' Cup turf. Hope you enjoyed our Saturday program. We're back with you tomorrow. 2:30 Eastern start time on FS1. We will see you then. With Sacrosanct remaining perfect in the Great White Way, how about Stone Smuggler in the 5th Avenue? Impressive in victory. Corningstone getting by Tax for the victory in the Mistletoe, and Intense for Me with the upset score in the Gran Premio Carlos Pellegrini, punching that ticket to next year's Breeders' Cup turf.